Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us. This Crankworx Summer Series action is coming to you 100% completely free. So do all the usual things, like and subscribe this video so we can hack the algorithm and keep bringing you this amazing high quality mountain bike content. Speaking of high quality, we have an insane rider list to start off the event today. Charlie, who are we going to be keeping our eyes on?
Yeah, absolutely, Reese. We've got some riders from all around the world and a really strong Kiwi contingent here this afternoon. Talking of Kiwis, Tohoto, he's been absolutely killing it over at Red Bull Hardline and he's aboard a new bike. So yeah, really excited to see Tohoto this afternoon.
Yeah, he's looking amazing. The other person we got to keep an eye out for is the reigning king of Crankworx, Ryan Gilchrist. We've been keeping eyes on him, tabs on him this weekend. What have you seen from him around the village?
Yeah, Ryan's been here, there and everywhere. I saw him last night practicing the pump track wearing his brand new rainbow jersey. So he won the World Championship pump track in November, and then he's also been on the downhill track posting the 5th fastest seating time yesterday. So he's on good form and he's going to be battling it out with those top riders.
Yeah, and doing it on a trail bike, which was amazing. The other person we can't not talk about is the reigning queen of Crankworx, Martha Gill. Martha is a semi-resident South Islander here, so what's she been up to this off-season?
Yeah, we'd love to claim her as a Kiwi. She comes down and lives in New Zealand for our whole summer and just practices her skills, training. Her and Brady, her partner, they're riding every day on the bikes, putting up social clips, and she's always a stylish one to watch, so she's going to be impressive on the downhill this afternoon.
Yeah, we can't wait to see what she's got. We've got a quick look here at the standings from the seeding runs yesterday, and as we expected, Millie Johnset, Louise Ferguson, Jenna Hastings taking out the top 3. It's going to be an exciting race today.
Yeah, it's incredible looking at those time gaps there. From 1st to 3rd is 20 seconds, I believe. So yeah, huge time gaps on this course because it's so long. Some of these times are over 5 minutes here, so it's physical, long, and it's going to be pretty tough for these riders.
Super tough track and lots of time to be found. So we're going to see things get shaken up a fair bit today. And speaking of the track, we're just going to get a quick word from the top from Louise and what she felt on the course yesterday.
Really physical, but the track was sick. It's like such a hard balance to try and suss out how rough the track is, and then also keeps some energy for the bottom. So yeah, loving the challenge. Find that breath. Really out of breath.
You can hear her puffing away there. She's obviously been putting down a heater down the last part of that course.
An absolute heater. And so officially welcome everyone to stop number 1 of the Crankworx Summer Series here, kicking off in Aotearoa, New Zealand. We're here at Christchurch Adventure Park. My name's Reese Ellis and I'm here with Enduro star and Christchurch local, Charlie Murray. How's it been having this event in your hometown?
Yeah, Reese, thanks for having me, and we're really lucky to have Crankworx. Last year, unfortunately, there was a big wildfire that ripped through the bike park here, and the event was postponed. So this is the redemption downhill this afternoon. This is us coming back and getting a chance to have a world-class event right on our doorstep.
Outstanding, and we already got into the action. So kicking things off with the qualifying and with a huge jump jam right here next to us on this massive mulch jump where we saw everyone throwing down some huge tricks, huge whips, and just what a way to kick off this festival.
Yeah, the vibes have been awesome. We've been, had that on Thursday evening, the jump jam, and then we've had a full action-packed day yesterday, and the whole event is just really kicking off here.
Yeah, it's been so incredible and littered with action yesterday, like you said, with the qualifying. We had some big stacks in practice, shaking up the seeding results, so I can't wait to see what kind of action we have today. But let's go see what's in store for these riders on the track. We're gonna head up to the top for a course preview.
And I'm Tegan. We're here at Crankworx Summer Series Christchurch.
And we'll be taking you for a lap of the Redemption downhill course.
Yeah. Dropping in here, Redemption downhill. Lovely day for the start of the course. Into a nice new off-camber section. Nice and wide open, lots of line choice. Really fun track, nice setup wide. Now to some super tight, unraced corners. Trying to hold it high. Oh! Super tight. Nice drop, in the rock garden. Wow. One of the best corners into a little gap. just ripping out here. Pinball kind of section. Gap out. Stylie showing some local knowledge out here on this awesome track. Some of the best corners ever, holy. Pretty fun jump section. Cheeky little inside. Road gap into the new Black Jandals course. Wow, Seth just really showing some huge jumps. So sick. To a really floaty step up. So high speed. Some shark fins. Yeah, boy. Into the finish corral. Triple. Yeah, boy. And that is your course preview.
That looked like a lot of fun. That makes me want to get up there on my bike and ride that course.
Yeah, I think I'd definitely be down to ride it, but it looks like a big job to race it, to be totally honest. Really seems like the tale of two tracks up there. You've got the top half of the course, which is super rough, rocky, powdery dust, and then you come out of that into a full hectic motorway sprint section. What do you think is going to make the difference out there today?
Yeah, we've heard that from some of the riders. There's a sort of an ADH section and then a proper World Cup level downhill track at the top. You're going to have to be strong and pretty physical to hold on to this one.
Yeah, no doubt. So we're going to see who's been working hard in the off season and where that's going to pay off. The other thing you can do if you're traveling here to Christchurch Adventure Park or any other place in the world is jump on Trailforks. So you can actually find the Redemption downhill track on Trailforks, come into the park and ride it and see all of the action that these riders are doing while they're racing, which is insane.
Yeah, it's a long track, 2.6 kilometers long and 450 meters drop, I believe. So pretty similar to Fort William, which is the longest World Cup track on the circuit.
So second to only Fort William, the longest track on the circuit, which you could probably also find on Trailforks in Fort Bill.
Yeah.
So you can see all of the stats here up on the screen now. 2.6 kilometers in length, 450 meters in vert, like you said. And if you look at the topograph of that map, the first section, very steep.
You can see it here.
The second half, almost flat. So that's what's showing us how this course breaks down. Almost 3/4 of it happens in the top bit. So make sure you download Trailforks for any of your trail trips and you'll never get lost in the woods ever again.
Yeah, perfect. But just before you drop in, just be a little bit careful of the level of difficulty of these trails.
Yeah, definitely look before you leap. One thing to remember as well, downhill's not the only thing we have on the table today. Just to our left here, we've got what Ryan Gilchrist has said is the best pump track he's raced on because of the gnarly rollers in there. So pump track action is going to be taking place at 6:30 p.m. tonight.
Yeah, no, really looking forward to that. Right now though, we are at the Redemption Downhill. This is the first stop of the Crankworx Tour, and we have the Women's Elite racing kicking us off. And after what we saw yesterday with the seeding results, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens this afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to be outstanding.
Let's have a look.
We've got a visual here of your home region. So Charlie, talk us through it. Talk us through what we're seeing.
So we're in the South Island of Aotearoa, New Zealand, in Otatahi, Christchurch, and we have the Summer Series right on the edge of the Banks Peninsula, which is volcanic sort of hills around the city. And that's probably why we have such different and challenging dirt conditions here.
Yeah, some of the most outstanding views you could see. I was lucky enough a few years ago to get to ride up along that ridge and just look into the ocean down below. And it's just breathtaking. I can't imagine. You got to feel so lucky to have grown up here. And I mean, what's it like to you? Like,
well, yeah, I think we're really lucky because we kind of take it for granted, you know? Like you said, when you're riding up along these ridge lines, you see the ocean and it's just beautiful. But we do take it for granted living here full time. You've got to remember to wake up and look at the view when you're on your training rides.
Yeah, wake up and smell the roses, as they say. So let's take a look at the action. We have the women's elite final start list that we can take a quick look at.
That's a beautiful drone shot of that motorway section we were just talking about, Reese. And it's fine when the wind's in your favour, but when you've got a headwind.
All right, and here we are. So we're kicking things off with Martha Gill, and let's just get stuck in. We have our top 10 elite women. Martha's on track, so let's see it.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, off that bridge beautifully. So Martha, she's actually started as an enduro rider, I think maybe even cross country in an enduro, and now she's a Crankworx star, obviously, the reigning queen of Crankworx.
The star. And she's also out now on the full new Marin downhill bike, which traditionally she's raced on an enduro bike for all the different events. So excited to see how this downhill bike helps her out with this super gnarly steep track. What are you seeing through this first rock garden?
As you can see the powder, it's just that powdery dust over the volcanic rock, and it's so unforgiving. I saw a huge crash just down here yesterday, so fingers crossed she gets through unscathed.
Looking smooth as she exits there, and you can see her coming up over that knuckle. We were just chatting to some of the people down at the bottom, and they're just saying as you come up that last step up into the open section, there's just this big gust of wind that potentially can grab you, and that's almost going to pull you to a stop. So you're not planning necessarily to clear that, but how are you going to get onto the hammers and drop some walk bombs down here into the sprint section?
Yeah, exactly. This is where the training pays off. We know Martha puts in the hard work. She spends so much time on the bike. Look at her powering through. If you can stay low in a sort of speed tuck position, it's easier said than done because you've got to pump the bike as well and move the bike. But whenever you can, if you can tuck in, you're just going to gain so much time.
That's it. It's like pump, pedal, tuck, rinse and repeat. And this is where we start to see the crossover of skill sets from some of these Crankworx athletes who, like Martha, she's insanely good at pump track. She's insanely good at dual slalom. So being able to manual and pump through these roller sections is going to be a huge advantage for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's those bike skills. We see Martha on the back wheel all the time on social media, just manualing around.
Yeah.
So she's just going to be coming into this last section here. And we can see on the splits that she's 24 seconds up, I believe, at that last split before the finish line. She's got a couple more features and then a big right-handed bobsled corner to finish.
So she's put in a huge effort, clawing back 5 seconds in that sprint section. This last bit, everyone says they're just saving their energy for this last jump to triple into this final corner, just to have enough strength to manage the G out in this last big berm.
There she is, a 5:12. So what does she get?
Into the hot seat, 22 seconds in the
up.
lead.
Yeah.
Huge. Let's take a quick look at this replay, Charlie.
I'm impressed because you can see the bike's pretty unsettled, but she's just staying relaxed and just letting her body move downhill.
And did you see that? She took a bit of a different line at the top, so she went far right where some other riders have opted to go straight through the middle and pull off that gap. She's gotten the pedals on, got a bit of speed out of the gate instead of hitting that first jump.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, that line. We'll keep an eye on it as we go through. We're going to see if we can hear from Martha down at the finish. She's just obviously puffing from that huge sprint effort along the motorway.
Yeah, we like to make them work for it, especially the Queen. You know, once you've just sprinted for 4.5 minutes, we're going to ask you some even tougher questions.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've got Martha here, but she's having a drink just so that we get that voice ready to go. Martha, how was that? How are you feeling after that big sprint down there?
Pretty smoked. I was out the saddle trying to sprint as hard as I could. My legs were just giving way beneath me. Did do a bit of sat down pedaling and then had to sprint for that final drop, but yeah, somewhat good run.
Well, you stayed composed, you look composed, so it looks like the off-season training's been paying off. Can you just say some more info about the Lucid program? I'm really interested about what you've created here this year.
Yeah, so Lucid Gravity is a new team I've created, kind of crossing over Crankworx and Freeride. I got myself, Jaden Fleming and Janelle Sukup on the team. She's actually at the NST event this week. Yeah, I just thought, I feel like Crankworx riders need more support and there wasn't really any sort of factory teams doing that sort of thing, so I thought why not create one myself?
Amazing job, Martha. It's so cool to see the initiative from yourself, and congratulations on an amazing run. We're super pumped to see what you have for the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
Well done,
Cheers.
Martha.
Phew.
Now up at the top, we have Geordie Scott standing up in the gate, ready to get things underway. She's breathing heavy. She's ready to go.
It's actually really cool to see her and Martha come down one after the other, because they're often battling it out in the pump track and some of the other events at the Crankworx stops.
100%. So
Here's that let's look at this line race. That's exactly what you mentioned there.
yeah, straight away she's mixed it up. So done something different than Martha right out of the gate. Hit that big jump. So let's take a look at this first split and see what kind of difference that might have made.
Yeah, she's also on the full DH rig, which I think is pretty much necessary for this track. I mean, I'll say that now. We might see a few boys later in the elite male on the trail rig, but I think I would want a downhill bike.
I would 100% be on a downhill bike as well. And like you say, when you've got these slalom pump track specialists like Martha and Geordie opting for a downhill bike, you know it's a track that calls for it. And she's looking super good. Oh, bit drifty, sliding into the top of that section.
Oh, the bike's just skipping over the top of the rocks. It looks so unsettled, but it's just, I think any bike's unsettled in that terrain.
100%, and what you can't really see on the camera is how short of a braking zone you have before that rock garden. So you got to get this braking done super quick to be able to carry momentum and keep your bike planted.
Here we go, race. The first split just came up at 4.5 seconds back, but she's pulled back a little bit of time into split. No, sure, she's lost another 4.5 coming into split 2.
So Martha's
done something special.
She's had a bit of a heater, so you can see the effort put in the off season and the hammers she put down on that sprint section. Not only that, but in the rocky section as well, pulling 5 seconds on that first split.
Yeah, I guess bike setup's going to be crucial today as well. So, like you said, the bikes are just skipping around on those rocks and trying to hit those braking zones well. It's so much more important when you only have a short braking zone. So if your bike's set up and it can get grip, that means you can actually ride quicker because you can brake harder in a shorter space of time.
100%, and probably such a battle to figure out the balance, because you're going from that loose, super rocky section into this, what we see Geordie onto now, where you don't want a bit of a stiffer bike. You're going to want those tires pumped up hard to carry momentum. And you can see she's just battling probably a bit of a headwind from what we can tell down here, and she's putting down the hammers.
You can see there's trees moving around, so there's definitely some wind. I can't tell you which direction it's going, but it looks like the way she was grinding up that flat section looked like it was coming into her face.
I would bet. I'd put my money that was going into her face for sure. But she's back up to speed here now, ripping into this last quadrant of the track where it gets a little bit more jumpy, a little more sheltered, so you can carry a bit more momentum.
Yeah, she's got that speed tuck beautifully coming through there.
A little bit of table, a bit of style coming in the finish.
Is that triple and the big bobsled corner.
She clawed back a bunch of time, actually. Over 3 seconds on that last split. Good enough for second place with a 5:19. Geordie Scott, you can hear her stoked and relieved to be down.
Yeah, I think she was very happy to be down in one piece and can focus on the next part of the festival. But that was an impressive run. Look at the bike skipping around it through here.
And like you could see that braking point just before, she's hard on the brakes, but that's just broken traction a little bit. So did some power slides, did super well to control it, gain composure, and exit this rock garden with a good bit of momentum, so she could power down and smash it in that last sprint jump section.
Yeah, and here we saw that speed tuck and a little tweak coming through there, just enough energy for some style. I rate that.
Yeah, you always got to back the bonus style into the finish line.
Good camaraderie too. Her and Martha.
Yeah.
So yeah, Martha coming down into the hot seat, and Geordie not quite managing to get it, but pulling back 3 seconds.
Pulling back 3 seconds, and like you've said, they've done, I wouldn't even be able to count how many battles over the years and years of Crankworx, from pump track finals, dual slalom finals. So I'd love to see a tally of who's got who. We'll ask them after this if they've got a running sheet of who's beat who in each different event, because they're both so talented at all of these disciplines. It's an ongoing battle, and we'll look.
Okay, and we're going to hear from Geordie now. Geordie, the bike looked really unsettled coming through that rock garden. How do you manage to keep it in a straight line and hang on to it through there?
Oh man, I just try to relax and let the bike do what it's gonna do. It's a little hard sometimes. I just try to keep telling myself to relax and let off the brakes. And maybe I could have done that a little bit more, but it was good fun.
Look, well, once we saw that little moment, you recovered very well, clawed back a bunch of time in the bottom, so congratulations on a great run, and looking forward to seeing you later at the pump track.
Thank you.
Cool, back to the top. And we have Georgia Hennis.
Yeah, Georgia Hennis up at the top. She's just broken the beam. One quick pedal out of the gate, and she's
The Australian rider.
Aussie rider, and opted for another third line choice out the gate. So we've had someone, Martha went far right, she went like middle, and then Geordie gapped that jump. So all different line choices straight out of the gate, which is amazing. And we've seen Georgia focus on the downhill, so she's gonna look really strong, I think, in this top section.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this first split and to see how those lines at the top are paying off. What we haven't talked about yet is just how dapple the light is in the woods there.
Yes, you can see on camera here that they're going in and out of very bright into very dark, and what that's going to do is a little bit hide the depth of some of the holes, not to mention the holes, as you can see, are big and full of dust anyways. So to have that tricky light so that you're not quite sure how deep that hole is going to make it really challenging to manage the forces of the trail.
Oh, look at Georgia just cranking up over that little rise.
I think that step up is going to be a key moment to look for here. If they make it up over that step up with a good bit of speed, that's going to make all the difference, and it's going to be exponentially beneficial down the next section of track.
Look at this.
Oh my God.
2.1 seconds in the green. So she's done something in that top section. So this is compared to Martha's time. But then we've got to remember that Geordie put 3 seconds into Martha on the bottom.
So there's, like you've seen, tons of time to be made. You can see that her legs, she's pumping and pedaling everywhere, getting knocked around a bit, but that just shows you how much energy she's putting in. And look, she's looking fast so far, battling through that headwind. I think we got a good time on our hands.
Yeah, she's grinding, just cranking those pedals.
Smashing it.
I can almost feel the lactic acid just from watching.
I actually felt like almost goose pimples in the berm in my legs from that. But she's back up to pace coming into this final split. So she's lost 3 seconds in between that second and third split. So hopefully she can claw it back.
One gust of tailwind could make a difference. But I think she must have been really quick in that top section with all the technical rocks, because she just looked planted through there. And then maybe she's just had a bit of that headwind in the bottom half.
Yeah, super planted, super smooth through that top bit. And then, like you say, some of the times the frame of the rider can make a big difference as well. As she comes into the finish here, looking super strong and fast. Let's see what the time is. Into second place, just 2.8 back. So Martha hanging on.
Yeah, Martha did something pretty good on the bottom half there.
Yeah, I would be interested to hear about her seeding run, because she started early in the piece, but she's obviously had a great one here. And some time to be found in the top section, and she's smashed it through the bottom.
Look just here, her front wheel just basically gets a whole lot of force from one of those rocks, but she managed to stay strong and hold on to it.
And I love that she's reset, so you can see the body position in between the really gnarly bits. She's got a bit of a reset, recomposed herself, and gotten ready for the next rough section, and just letting that bike move.
Do you see that there?
Front wheel and back wheel were both going forward, but on a different plane completely.
And just also she was sliding into that corner, so the slow-mo is showing us all those little subtleties that we didn't see before.
And just highlighting the skills, the bike handling skills from all these women. Allowing your bike to move that much in a slow-mo seems really easy, and you're like, oh yeah, I would do it just like that. But when you're on and you're in that moment, it feels like anything could happen. So hats off to everyone, all these women who are smashing it through those rocky sections. That is absolutely insane work on the bike. And you can just see the reaction as well. Give me some water, give me some oxygen when I get to the bottom, because you've left it all out there on this track. There's no way. There's no other way.
I think you have to. But you also have to pace yourself a little bit, because if you come out of the gate just as hard as you can, I reckon you're probably, even if you're as fit as anyone, fit as, let's say, Loic Bruni or Perron.
Or you.
I can be fit sometimes. I think you'd still run out of energy on the bottom.
100%. I think if I was doing a strategic run out there, I would be trying to just save the legs on those top bits, staying nice and supple and smooth through the rough stuff, and then have as much breath in the lungs for that bottom section. So we are gonna head up to the top, and we've got Kalani Muirhead in the gate. She's a South Island local. Have you seen much of her around?
I haven't been down in Queenstown much this year, but she spends lots of time down there riding with all the, basically the who's who of downhill come down to Queenstown and train and race during the off season. So she would have had plenty of time with those top riders. She goes for that left line.
And looking super strong out of the gate. Yeah. Some really fast pedal strokes. So we'll see if she's saving energy or if she's just letting it all hang out there.
She visibly looks like she's coming to this section quicker than what we've seen.
And very controlled. Like, she looks composed. She's pedaling into those next corners, which is a really good sign from the body language of Kalani.
So we see here she was 4th in the downhill in Rotorua last year.
So we know she's got fast runs in the tank up against these elite level riders.
Let's look closely here. This is
smooth into that first entry.
You just have to try and skip across the top of these rocks, but that means your bike's not really on the ground. Taking the inside of that tree there.
And looks like she carried good exit speed out of that section. And carrying good momentum up over that step up, like we said. She was just 0.2 back on the first split and clawed back over 3 seconds in that second split. So she's on for an absolute eater. Let's see if she can maintain this pace through these bottom 2 sectors.
Just as we can feel it in the vent village here, the wind has completely stopped.
Ooh.
So this could be a huge advantage for Kalani. Not to mention her top work in that technical section.
Yeah, she's put in the work at the top, maybe got a treat at the bottom with a little bit less wind. And I heard Lou Ferguson say earlier, she's like, it's a full lotto.
Yeah.
If you just catch the wrong gust of wind at the wrong time, it could make a big impact on your run. And especially for some of these lighter riders. If you're a bit heavier and you've got a bit more momentum, the wind isn't gonna affect you quite as much. But for some of these elite female athletes, they don't have quite as much weight, but look, she's just carried heaps of speed
She's
there.
lost 2 seconds, but still one second up on Martha. So she'll be looking to go into the hot seat because she wants to prove that 4th place in Rotorua, she can do something similar.
That's right. Yeah, we want to prove that that wasn't just a one-off lucky incident, but she's definitely had some other good results as well, and proven just by how composed and strong she is in this run. She's got it in her.
She's got the speed tuck dialed through there, which is good to see. Because that makes such a huge difference. The aerodynamics, even if you just drop your head 10 centimeters.
Free speed.
Yeah, it is literally free speed.
Looking super good here as she comes into this last gap into the corner. Strong through the finish. Let's see if she's hung on.
Close. She does it.
1.1
Beautiful.
Up into the hot seat. Kalani breathing hard.
5.11. She still looks composed.
Yeah, she looks chill. She's just chilled out.
Get some water on board.
Let's take a look back to the top. This is where she made up a ton of time in this top rock section. What are you seeing?
Yeah, she's just like really aggressive. Good body position. Bike's staying pretty settled.
And she's got one thing I really noticed with her position. She's got her chin right up over the front of the bike. So she's really able to use her arms to manage those forces coming at her from those rocks, which just allows you to be ready for the next section. If you get sucked off the back in those rocky sections, you're not as composed, there's not as much steering from the front wheel, and then you're maybe not going to be as prepared. So if you've got a corner or something tricky after those rocks like we can't see in the screen, you need to be ready for that.
Yeah, and it's that reset that you were talking about before, once you get back into your really strong neutral position, then you can attack the next section, and she was just in that position almost the whole time.
Yeah, big time. And so huge bonus from her paying off with those bike skills, putting her into the hot seat. So we're going to have a quick word with Kalani.
Kalani, how was that run? How are you feeling coming to the bottom of it?
Yeah, that was a solid run. It's pretty tiring. A lot of pedaling at the bottom, still trying to catch my breath, but yeah, it was good.
Awesome. You don't really seem too stressed out, mate. You seem like you're really chill. So on a scale of 1 to 10, like, was that a super hardcore run or was it a pretty safe run for you?
I definitely could have pushed in certain bits like a little bit more, but overall, like, I'm pretty happy with the way I rode. So was good.
Is the track deteriorating much through that rock section, or basically the top half of the track? Because I've heard it's been blowing up a bit and the dust is getting worse. Is that true?
Yeah, it's definitely getting a lot more blown out and just like bigger holes in certain parts, but yeah, not too bad.
Well done. That was impressive, and happy to see you go into the hot seat. Hopefully you can hang on to it. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we're going to get a quick look at our mini leaderboard and how the riders are stacking up so far in this race.
Yeah. So Kalane, she only really just over 1 second up on Martha.
And from what we can see in those splits, 1 second, which normally in a downhill race you'd be like, oh, that's a decent margin.
Yeah.
However, we've seen 3 seconds at the first split go to -2 seconds, back to +1, you know, so the amount of time that's changing sector to sector is huge so far. So 1 second, hopefully that's enough for her, but I think we're gonna see a lot more changing on this leaderboard throughout this
I think
race.
that's really tight for a track like this. The gaps could be much bigger.
Huge.
Cool.
So I'm a guest here, you know, first time in a long time I've been into Christchurch. You're the local. What are some of the things that I should come and see and do, you know, when we get off these headphones?
Yeah, well, we're actually really lucky. We've got so much beautiful stuff here around Christchurch, New Zealand. And yeah, we can see it all on screen right here. This is the Port Hills, Banks Peninsula, and then Christchurch Central City here as well.
I'm keen to get into one of those fancy boats down the river.
Yeah.
That looks outstanding.
Right through the middle of town. It's almost like you're in some Italian, you know, in Venice or something.
Absolutely. And the architecture, I won't pretend to be an architecture expert. I can't even say the word, but I went into the craziest coffee shop today. I think it must have been an old post office where you could like send the messages up through the tubes. And so I feel like the character that gets around Christchurch is one of the highlights for me. Is you don't know what you're going to bump into. You don't know what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Any secret spots for those visiting?
Well, I'm happy you found C1 Espresso, because that's where it gets delivered, and the French fries come in the mail chutes.
Yeah, it was insane. I didn't. No one prepped me for this, and then all of a sudden, food's traveling through the ceiling.
Yeah, it's awesome. But no, we're really lucky. Like, we obviously have a mix of all the old original English architecture that when settlers first came out here, and then we also have the stuff post-earthquake. We had a big earthquake in 2011. It knocked down a whole lot of the city, and that's been rebuilt. So we've got a really nice mix of they've kept the old stuff and sort of honoured it, and then made some beautiful new architecture as well.
Amazing. Yeah, such a beautiful city. And we are going to get back into the action here. So we're going to take a quick look at the start list of who we have coming up next.
So it sounds like Lisa might not be starting this afternoon, unfortunately. But we've seen these guys come down, and everyone's been down safely, so we're really happy to see that. And next up, we have Winnie Goldsberry.
Yes, Winnie Goldsberry, Seal van der Velden, Millie Johnset, Louise Ferguson, and Jenna Hastings. So this top 5 is absolutely stacked. And one of the coolest things about these Crankworx Summer Series events is that we get to see some local riders test themselves against some of these elite World Cup athletes that we see racing all around the world. So it's kind of these two worlds colliding where we get to see all the different action, and I know that's an exceptional opportunity for the riders here in Christchurch.
Yeah, Winnie, she's a local. She lives just down the road there, probably, you know, a 5-minute ride away from the bike park. So she'll be stoked to be up against these international riders this afternoon. And then obviously Jenna, she's another Kiwi, but she is, you know, an elite rider. So yeah, I think Winnie's going to be happy to be battling with these girls this afternoon.
Yeah, we can't wait to see how it goes.
Cool.
All right, and we're going to take a quick look at a couple of our men's elite riders who are just getting set up, getting ready to rock for this afternoon's racing.
Right, finals morning. How are we feeling?
Good. Yeah, pretty good. Had bacon and eggs for breakfast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
team go.
What did you have?
Bacon and eggs.
Oh, you stayed together?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. Who cooked?
I cooked first and then he cooked after.
Yeah.
Oh, the bro actually cooked me breakfast, one of the other bros. So.
Oh, with the other bros?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty good. Had a good morning this morning.
That's great. Good fight start.
Yeah.
How are we feeling on track?
All good. Yeah. Not too sure about today how blown out it is, but Yeah. No, it was all good.
Nice to be back riding in the dust.
Yeah, not the snow.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome. Have fun out there today.
Thank you.
Oh, those boys are both looking so good. One of the cool things that's new this year for the full Crankworx series is that we've had the king of Crankworx, we've had the queen of Crankworx in the past, but this year there's actually a downhill series as well. So 6 different races, including this one and all the World Tour stops. So some riders chasing just that downhill title.
Yeah, it's cool to have that overall up for grabs. And here we are back at the top with Winnie Goldsbury. So her qualifying was a 5:18, and she'll be trying to knock a bit of time off that this afternoon. We can hear some local support crew already right at the top. And it's epic to see such a good crowd out, especially in the rock garden that we'll see in a minute.
Yeah, what a good vibe as we look over the view of the city of Christchurch here. Oh, looking super aggressive and strong coming into this first tech section, into these 2 tight turns. On the pedals.
Yeah, very composed. Winnie's quite tall, so she can move the bike around well, get it exactly where it needs to be.
And hopefully got some big levers to crank out of this bottom section. Let's take a look as she comes in hot into this rock garden on the anchors.
Yeah, through that dust, you can see it just throwing off the front wheel.
But she's up 0.6 into the green in that first section. She's looking really composed here.
Come on, Winnie. Half a second up.
And just drawing your attention to this step down, so opting to go around. I know some of the women will be trying to jump that, probably wind dependent.
Come on, Winnie, pedal.
Oh, she's just dropped off a tiny bit, losing 0.7,
She's in touch.
She's just a 1/10 of a second back. So she's right in touch. It's all going to come down to how much momentum she can carry in this lower half of the track.
Yeah, I believe in her. I think she can do it. She just needs to get hard on the pedals. It's awesome seeing this drone shot, and you can see how much work they've done putting this track in.
And we know the locals are going to be swinging the chainsaws, swinging the cowbells. You can hear them in the background putting down the support, and she is equally putting down the power, pumping through those sections, carrying really good momentum here.
Yeah, well, we know she's strong and fit, so she can do a long race run. She's an enduro specialist. She won one of the World Cups last year.
Oh.
Maybe 2 of the World Cups last year over in Europe. So she, has just graduated to the elite ranks this year. And like any good enduro rider, she's doing some downhill skills practice.
Stay sharp. And look, she's also getting some enduro practice at the moment with these sprints and carrying this extra speed. So she'll be no stranger to burning lungs and burning legs, which is exactly what it takes to put down a fast time in this bottom section of the track.
Yeah, I wonder how long that bottom section is, but it's probably at least a minute of just full body workout.
Well, I think it's almost a kilometer, that bottom section. We'll have to check the trail forks for the exact stats, but someone was mentioning to me an 800-meter sprint to the finish, which is
if you had
savage.
to go and do that on a flat road, you wouldn't be very happy about it.
No, even if that was your intervals, you wouldn't be that psyched about it. So here she comes into the finish. She's looking good. She's in touch.
Oh, she goes 3 seconds outside into third.
But the local support coming through and the camaraderie looking amazing. Hugs all around. She's stoked to be at the bottom.
That was awesome.
Well, she had fun out there, that's for sure. Let's look closely. Look at the dust kick off the front wheel here.
And check out, what do you think of her? She's braking super early here.
Yeah.
And then check out what this does for the next corner coming through these 2 tight rocks. Super straight. And it looked to me like her bike just stayed smoother through that bit.
Yeah, but look how many rocks that the front wheel has to go over as well. I think that is the line, but there's also a line just to the right that we'll see some people doing later on with a bit of a gap.
Okay.
A little bit more committing. But yeah, that line from Winnie was, I think that's one of the best we've seen through the rocks so far.
And that's it. It's a bit of a toss-up where you've got to weigh up the options. A big gap up the top could make you up some time, but if you get really unsettled, it could also lose you a heap of time. And knowing how much time is on offer through the bottom of the track, some people will often take that risk, others won't. And more likely as we get through these higher and higher ranks, we're going to see more and more risks being taken.
Cool. I think we're going to hear from Winnie in just a minute. She's absolutely fizzing to be down in one piece and obviously had some fun. Winnie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Nice. So how was that? How did your enduro training help with the bottom section?
My enduro training, it was good for the pedals because it was very, very pedally, but it was good fun. Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how do your lungs feel at the moment?
Well, 10 being perfect or 10 being terrible?
10 being the most burning you've ever felt in it.
I go a 5 or 6, not too bad. I probably should have tried harder. But hey.
Are those rock gardens fun, coming through that middle section?
Oh yeah, I love the rock gardens. That's the best part of the whole track. I would like lap that part, just over and over.
Oh, awesome. Well, it's good to see you down with a smile on your face, Winnie. Well done.
Thanks, Chaz. See you guys.
And we are back up at the top with Seal van der Velden. She's coming out of the gate, putting down some big power straight into these rocks and opting for the gap line at the top.
I think that might be the line. I quite like that little gap. You skip a few rough bits.
Skip a few rough bits and get a nice big downward push through that transition into the next section onto the bridge. Oh, and she's coming in attacking these first few corners.
Oh,
no!
She slipped a foot, I think.
She just went to sprint and slipped a pedal in that traverse before the corner. She's back onto it now. Bit of a mistake, but if she can tidy things up, she might be able to claw back that time.
Oh, do you see how close she got to the pole on the inside of the course?
She is leaving it all out there. She's on it. And still 5.6 seconds into the green, even with that bobble.
Maybe that's why she had a bobble, is because she's just so attacking so hard.
And again, 11 seconds in the next section. So bobble or not, she's leaving it all out there on the track. And
oh my goodness.
I don't even want to say it, but it's kind of her race to lose. If she can carry the momentum at the bottom of this track right now, she is definitely a shoe-in for the hot seat here.
Yeah, all she needs to do is just keep going, keep the speed tuck and pedaling as hard as you can until you feel like you can't pedal anymore, and then keep pedaling.
Yeah, just keep that aggression, right? It's, like we said, one of the longest tracks, second only to Fort Bill out there on the circuit. It's a very different style of track to Fort Bill, so it's a lot more physical in the aerobic Fort Bill, so it's a lot more physical in the aerobic, anaerobic capacity type of way where you're putting a ton of energy in.
She's actually been tucking and popping so well that she's been able to just pump through without pedaling for most of it, which is a different technique, but it seems to be working. Like you said, 13 seconds.
13 seconds, and if you've got the momentum, pedaling is only going to be beneficial if you don't have a lot of speed. If you've got speed, pumping and tucking, like you've mentioned before, is going to be a lot more beneficial.
She's just sitting down there, so the legs are obviously burning. Yeah, so it just comes up short. If you can just get the timing right on a few of these, it makes your life so much easier. Like that one, catching the downside, and smooth through there too.
And hauling here into the finish.
She's going to do it.
Oh, beautiful run. 11.798 into the green. She's got to be stoked with that. She might have left 1 or 2 stones unturned, but she turned over more than she left unturned. That's for sure.
Fantastic. Maybe 2 seconds. She was 13 up at one point, but 11 seconds is a huge buffer right on the 5-minute mark. This is where she slipped that pedal, so let's look closely.
And she just went to crank, I think. Maybe a bit of a light gear from the start caused it to be a little bit of a bobble and slip that pedal a tiny bit, or probably just unclip. Yeah, so she's clipped in. So it might have just been an unclipped moment.
It didn't seem to slow down too much because she was still 5 seconds up at this first split.
When you can see just how hard she's gone into this rock garden section, composed, centered on the bike, and just attacking.
Yeah, you see the back wheel locking up and then she's just sort of off the brakes, letting the bike run through this rough stuff. It's really hard to see with that dappled light.
Yeah, the light is certainly going to be a challenge. And then, like we saw, she lost a tiny bit of time. A couple of tags like that can make a big difference on the momentum that's carried, but it didn't slow her down. She just made up for it with full, all-out power and
commitment.
And full commitment on the pedals.
Let's hear from Seal. Seal, can you hear me over there?
Yes.
What happened at the top? We saw you might have slipped a pedal in one of the first corners in the woods. What happened there? Can you talk us through it?
I almost went through the tree, so I needed to clip out and to stay on my bike. It was a really sketchy run.
And especially I don't do the big 2 jumps, and it's so hard. You need to pedal so hard to get through. So yeah, really physical.
Yeah, really, really physical indeed. And I think one of the highlights for us was that rock section up at the top. Can you talk to us about what was your approach? Like, what were you thinking coming into that rock garden section?
The first rock garden?
Yes.
Yeah, I almost lost the front wheel. I don't know, I was already tired, I think.
Well, it didn't show to us, and it didn't show in the time. You looked amazing out there. Congratulations on a great run.
Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You can hear she's worked so hard. You can hear she's worked so hard on that bottom section, still puffing.
All right, here we go into our top 3. Right out of the gate.
Oh! You see the back wheel skipping on that first little hop.
She's throttled it. She's got a hop while pedaling and unweighted.
She sits up on the left of the bridge there. We see most riders going off the middle.
And she's looking really strong. Made a bit of a change, moving on to the new intense bike this year. She seems to be getting along with it well so far, slotting into the top 3 here. Looking really smooth through those top corners.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how her split compares to Seal, because we knew that Seal had that mistake, but then she also said that she was really on the limit.
Oh, and there's Millie taking that gap line off the left.
That's what I'm talking about. And she's just over half a second back. And she's pulled back 0.021.
So just 2 thousandths of a second. That gap obviously helping a little bit, but she did have to slam on the brakes pretty hard to get around that next rock. So we'll see what Millie can do here in this lower half of the track. We know she's been hammering on the training. She's actually been spending a bit of time in my part of the world at Mount Prevost on Vancouver Island, putting in the heat. So she's been pedaling through wet mud. This dry dirt should be no problem for her as she carries tons of speed through these bottom jumps.
Yeah, just making it look like a BMX track, just pumping and popping through there.
And she'd be no stranger to some really fast motorway sections, things like in Leogang on that World Cup circuit where she's carrying tons of momentum. And you can see there, she's actually pumped up over the top of that. And now she's put herself 1.5 into the green.
It's gonna be so close.
And this is one of the coolest parts about this racetrack. You know, you suspect someone like Millie, who's got so much World Cup experience, to be, you know, just hauling through those rock sections, but it also shows the discipline and the training where she's made up tons of time in this lower section with 1.5 seconds coming into this last sector.
Must be the secret Mount Prevost training ground. What are you guys doing over there?
I'm not saying nothing. I'm not giving away any secrets.
It is top secret.
Top secret.
But she's looking so smooth over all these jumps, just catching downside, generating more speed. Crossing the line, and 6 seconds up!
6.4 in the bottom half of the track. That's madness.
What? I think we're going to see some big upsets in the bottom half.
There could be some upsets.
Like this one.
Well, she sounds about as surprised as us.
Fantastic.
And you can hear the chatter. Super sketchy run. So right out of the gate, she had a bit of a moment where she's right here. Just tried to crank and swap the back wheel. Coming into a jump like that is not an amazing feeling.
No, especially to start your run off. You want to be starting off calm and collected. Not on the edge, but I guess it's that crosswind too, coming out of the gate. And let's look at this gap here. This was awesome.
And I
see
think
it in just a minute. You're going to set up further to the right as left, so our right. Off the top rock, straight in.
And then just having to get hard on the brakes. Yeah, that's the pros and cons of a gap, right? As soon as your bike leaves the ground, you can't control your speed anymore. So yes, you skip a bunch of rough stuff and get going a lot quicker, but you also need to be able to manage that speed on the other side, which she did super well, and that set her up for this motorway section where she clawed back all that time.
Yeah, look at that big pop through the trees there.
It looked like she was going for the second landing.
So hopefully, I think we're going to talk to her in just a minute. I want to find out what exactly happened in this bottom section, because that was really impressive. Speed tuck as well. That's a seasoned professional.
Textbook. That is a professional speed tuck.
Okay, so I think we're going to hear from Millie now. Look at that bobsled corner. So, Millie, you pulled back 6 seconds in the bottom half of the track there. How did you do that?
Oh, wow. I don't know, it must have been the step down, but I don't know because I cased it really bad, so that was a bit scary.
And then across the motorway, what was your technique? Were you tucking, pedaling? Can you talk us through it a bit?
Until the last flat, I was definitely tucking because you're just dead. So it's like survival, and then at the end, just like pedal whatever I got.
Yeah, well, it looked amazing. You put down some amazing power. How was the wind? Did you feel like that was a factor for you? Is it pretty consistent, or what are we seeing out there?
The wind you can only really notice at the top with the first small little doubles, but then at the end it's more if you have a tailwind or not. But it wasn't too bad, so have to make it down.
Oh, great work, and congratulations on an amazing run. It was epic to see you claw back that time into the finish.
Well done,
Thank
Millie.
you. Thank you.
And now we're heading back up to the top with Louise Ferguson, fresh off of an amazing session at Red Bull Hardline Tasmania last week. She's just excited.
She's not scared of any features or any track, so she'll be fine here. Yeah, obviously Red Bull Hardline with some of the biggest jumps pretty much in the world, I might say.
They're very big.
That's your neck of the woods too.
Yeah, that's our backyard, and I think chatting to Lou, the thing she said the most is it's the speed. So you're going upwards of 75 kilometers per hour on that track. So it just makes other downhill tracks feel a bit slower, which means you can attack them with a ton more confidence. And that's what we're seeing from Louise so far here. Oh, she might have had a bit of a moment.
No, she's down.
No, Lou.
She's grabbed the bike and spun it around, but her brake lever has been twisted, as you can see just in the silhouette there.
And that's not going to be bugger. Ideal for Lou, but she's maybe fallen a bit victim to, I'll let you speak to this because you're a bit of a hobby geologist from what I said.
Yeah.
You can see that loose dust on top of the rocks.
Yeah.
She's not letting this slow. She's still in touch. 0.04.
So I'm right, she's lost 10 and then pulled back 10. Is that right?
Lost 10, fixed her brake lever partway up the track, and then just went hammer and tongs, and she's clawed it all back. So,
I have to
apologize.
Maybe that fired her up.
I thought
it's not over. Stay.
I thought it was over. I was going to chat about the soil. Look at her go.
Look at the speed, Tuck. So she's teammates with Millie. Millie's just joined the Intense program.
And she's up. 0.851 in the green.
She just can't give up now.
That's it. Hopefully in her head she knows it is not all lost, and she's going to, like she always would anyway, go complete hard out to the finish. You know, we saw her as one of the first women ever to complete a Red Bull Hardline run top to bottom. And in that run, not a dissimilar stat to what we saw here.
Yeah.
So you know this from Lou. She just never, ever gives up, and she's always going to give it everything all the way to the bottom. And we're seeing that pay off as she comes in hot here into the finish.
I love that she never gives up because that's so important. You never know what all the other riders have done. Maybe the other riders have all had a crash.
Totally, and you don't know your splits, right? You know if you're green, you know if you're red. Oh my goodness!
0.3 tenths back.
Oh my gosh.
Millie.
So she was on a heater, clawed it back, and then just lost a tiny bit, 0.32.
Imagine what it could have been.
Oh. I'm breathing. I'm breathing hard.
I'm doing a little bit of quick math, but that's saying that we could possibly be seeing a time around 4:43. Because she was a 4:53 and she lost 10 seconds.
4:53, lost 10 seconds. So yeah, and we still haven't seen the fastest qualifier yet, Jenna Hastings. So
maybe the track's running quick today.
And I feel like the wind is less consistently in their face as well. You can see this is how she made up that time, just letting that bike buck through those rocks, but centered control, the bike's moving. And we're here now with Lou at the bottom. Lou, how are you doing?
I'm all right, which is the main thing, but yeah, it wasn't really the run that I had planned. But yeah, I just had to keep cracking, give it my all.
Yeah.
Man, that finish is physical.
You absolutely kept cracking. So you lost 10 seconds with that crash, give or take. How did you pull it back to within touch? What do you do down the whole rest of the track there?
Well, I just tried to forget about the crash. I was like, I just got to keep going. My brakes had moved, so it was pulling my focus a little bit. But yeah, it's downhill. You just got to do what you got. And yeah, I'm stoked it came that close, but props to Millie. She killed it. And I'm excited to see what Jenna does too.
You guys both killed it.
No, amazing work, Lou. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done, Luke. We've got one rider left at the top.
And here we are, Jenna Hastings up at the top.
Before we go to the top, let's have a quick look at her run from last year. We have gone to the top.
We're back at the top.
I got you.
This is where we want to be anyways. I was getting excited.
This
is where we want to be, up at the top with Jenna Hastings, our fastest qualifier. She's on that Pivot Factory Racing team, comfortable, acquainted with this bike.
So look, her time, I won't talk over her jumping, that was beautiful on that high line. But her time, 4:47, so that still hasn't been beaten yet today. So she'll be trying to go quicker than that from yesterday.
Yeah, she'll be chasing a faster time, but all she needs to do is recreate yesterday's qualifying run. And by all accounts, the course is a lot more chewed up. It's harder to navigate, as we can see from some of the challenges that have been happening so far. So let's keep an eye on Jenna. She knows she's got it in the tank. She's just got to deliver. And here she is, opting for that right-hand line, but just keeping it smooth. And she's 4 seconds into the green, coming through this rock garden, and just smooth. That is one of the gnarliest, roughest sections we've seen on a Crankworx track ever. And she's carried that much speed, gapped up the step up. She's going to be on for a heater, 13.295 into the green.
Oh, she's just been gaining the whole way down.
And that
just lighting up. All she has to do is carry that same time differential to the finish.
And that momentum she'll have from that step up. She did that full big step down gap into the step up and cleared it. So she'll have so much momentum. She'll be just frothing into this finish section.
We could be in for a massive winning margin, but I won't say anything yet. She's got 13 seconds up her sleeve. I'd like to be coming down with 13 seconds up my sleeve.
Well, and like we saw as well, that Lou found 10 seconds. People have lost 6 seconds.
Yeah,
so
true.
Anything could happen in this bottom section. All it takes is one bit of a case or a bit of a tag on a roller or bad timing of a pedal stroke. Anything can happen still.
Look how motivated. She's just trying to get to the line as quickly as possible.
That's it. The faster you get to the bottom, the shorter the suffering is.
Exactly. I always try and think that I've got a lion chasing me, because then it makes me get a move on.
A lion or a moose, that's the one that chases me.
Yeah, moose would be good, yeah. You get some of those in Tasmania.
The odd Tasmanian moose keeps you moving for sure.
But Jenna's she doesn't need anything to chase her, because she's giving it everything. She just wants to break that laser beam at the finish as soon as possible. 16 seconds up now.
And surely this one has to be good for Jenna.
4:35! Beautiful!
What
That's
an outstanding lap.
Wow. I think the fastest time we estimated was just under 5 minutes for the female before the race, and she's just gone and blown it out of the water.
By 25 seconds, so congrats to Jenna. We're going to let her catch her breath and give her a moment. But what an outstanding run.
Takes it in style.
In style. Let's look back up to the top here. She didn't go for that gap line, but made this right-hand line look so smooth and so fast.
Yeah, the bike's working well. There's so many rocks you've got to get through just coming into that G-out before the next rock section. But yeah, she's just staying really strong and planted. The bike's staying planted. It's basically textbook, I would say.
Basically textbook, and that's it. Sometimes these big committed lines make a huge difference, but sometimes the maybe less fast, air quotes, line done well is going to give you more consistent and faster results repeatedly, and that's what Jenna's done so well there.
Okay, well, let's hear from Jenna. Jenna, how are you feeling after that? You absolutely smashed your seating time out the window.
Yeah, what was that, like 12 seconds or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard. That was like probably one of the most physical tracks I think I've ever done, maybe, on a downhill bike. But no, I rode good. I don't think I made a single mistake, one that I can't think of. So if I did, it mustn't have been that bad. And yeah, I felt good. I took a wrong line before the step down actually, but I think it actually worked out better. And yeah, no, I'm stoked with that. I'm absolutely smoked, but...
That's how you should be. It looked textbook anyway. What sort of motivation do you use to keep pedaling and attacking down the bottom? Because you just look like you were so fixed on getting to the finish line as quickly as possible.
Yeah, getting it over with as fast as I can. No, everything in me wanted to sit down, and I was like, just don't sit down or you're just not going to get back up again. But looking at the time, I probably could have sat down actually. So no, it's good. Fitness is paying off. I've done my intervals for once this off season, so they feel like they paid off a bit there.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's clearly paid off, and congratulations on an amazing run, and congratulations on the win today.
Well done,
Thank you so
Jenna.
much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So I think we're going to see the results now.
Yeah, let's take a look at these results and a couple of replays of our final runs, of our winning runs.
Look at the margins. 18 seconds in the clear. And that just speaks volumes for how much Jenna attacked. She said that she could have sat down, but obviously the attitude she has that she wasn't going to sit down, wasn't going to give up, and every second counts. And you see that over a 4.5 minute track. It turns into 18 seconds.
It's made all the difference. We're just going to catch up quickly here with Millie, our second place finisher. Millie, how are we doing down here?
Pretty good, yeah. Pretty tired, but happy to be down. It's been a fun but hard week, so yeah, happy.
Yeah, we saw, or you mentioned that you had a bit of a bingo in the practice the other day. Amazing job on coming back. How did that impact any changes to your run or your strategy for this race?
I definitely took it a bit more chill yesterday. I was like, okay, luckily we not have to qualify, so it's just seeding, get a full run. And then, yeah, today was a new day, so I just did my best and happy to put together the run I did.
Oh, it's good that you can just put that behind you and look forward. How are you finding the new bike and the new team setup?
Awesome, yeah. I keep saying I was kind of scared to get on a new bike because Kenny last year was so easy to get on. But no, the bike has been treating me amazingly and is a real race bike.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it's definitely paying off, and congratulations on the second place.
Thank you.
Amazing. So we're going to have a look here at our top 3 runs from the Women's Elite Final. Your third place finisher here, Louise Ferguson.
Just after that crash, where she had to stop and do a 10-second, she lost 10 seconds, had to fix a brake lever, and then attack the rest of the course, coming within a second of second place.
And talk about redemption downhill. That's the name of this race. I have to admit, I was like, oh no, it's all gone pear-shaped here. She jumped back up, kept going, and clawed it back. We had solid highlights there, Millie in second place, and here, Jenna.
So yeah, Millie doing a solid run, and Jenna just blowing us away, blowing a competition out of the water. That was really world-class run from Jenna.
Outstanding here, racing at Christchurch Adventure Park. Now we're going to take a quick look at some of the stories from some of our slopestyle riders here at the event.
Beautiful out here. Today, Missy and I are going to check out what Christchurch, New Zealand has to offer. This is my wife, Missy. We got married about a year ago, so today it's only right that I dive straight into the Kiwi lifestyle
and see what her home turf has to offer.
First things first, coffee and breakfast. No one does coffee like New Zealand. All right, now that we're all fueled up, I think it's time for the zip line at the Christchurch Adventure Park.
Let's go.
It just so happens to be the longest zip line in New Zealand. That's pretty sick.
It wouldn't be a proper day out here in Aotearoa without a cruise on the bike.
One sec, I'll be right back. As our day winds down, it's time to grab some drinks, dinner, and catch this beautiful sunset view. No better way to wrap up the day than a quick walk in the ocean.
Oh, that looks like a lot of fun. They're actually checking out my local out at Sumner Beach. That's where I live.
Is that the spot?
It's nice to see them out there enjoying it and going for a quick swim.
Just seeing that has been so incredible, because that's been kind of echoed in my experience here. Just walking around briefly, there's more things to see and do than what you can point your head at. So it's an incredible place you live.
Oh, we're really lucky. So right now, let's have a look at the analysis of the winning run from Jenna.
Yeah, we'll get it up here on screen.
So this is the gold medal run, and as we've just seen, it was fantastic. Like we said, textbook downhill riding.
When we heard it from her as well, she said, I don't think I made any mistakes in that run, even to these small adjustments, like you said, where she jumped off to the side of the left hand of the bridge to set up for that next corner. Yeah. Braking points were on point. She was carrying good momentum. She was just keeping that bike planted, controlled at every turn.
Yeah, just so composed and just attacking. Like you said, really smart line choice, because she didn't go for this drop on the right-hand side, but came through the middle line, but made it look easy.
Absolutely, and she's a great example here of one of those runs where she almost doesn't look like she's going fast because she's going so smooth and so controlled. And that's one of those really tricky things about downhill is the smoother riders look, usually the faster they're going.
Yeah.
But it can be a little confusing with the time because like, oh, they don't look like they're going that fast. And then 16, 18 seconds gap in at the bottom.
Like we see, just absolutely smashing it.
Huge.
Congratulations, Jenna.
And after a couple of tricky injuries and things like that last season, it's so amazing to see her coming back into this year, getting an amazing result here at the Christchurch Summer Series Redemption Downhill. She's going to be so full of confidence leading into all the other stops this
Yeah, it's a perfect building block.
And also, we have on the Pivot Factory Racing team, Bernard Kerr, and we're going to just check out his thoughts on how things are going so far this weekend. So we saw a lot of Bernard last week. I got to interact with these guys at Red Bull Hardline Tasmania. He's a bit of a known hardline specialist, and he put down a top 5 finishing run, and it was some insane racing out there today, so he'll be brimming coming into this next session.
Yeah, and what better place to do it than here in New Zealand, in Aotearoa and Otatahi Christchurch. It's so cool for this town to have this event, and thanks for watching, and thanks to everyone who's come along and made the festival vibes just really top notch, because the whole community, which is quite a small community in Christchurch, is here. Everyone to do with cycling is here.
And what a strong community. I've only been here for a few days, and we unfortunately had to have this event postponed last year, last minute, from some forest fires just on the backside of the hill here. And so they built this brand new downhill track ready for this event, and then last minute got the rug pulled out from underneath us, and we all had to wait another year. And it's just such a testament to the resilience and the passion of this community here in Christchurch, where we're back. You know, there's thousands of people up on this hill. The energy and the vibe is amazing. So thank you for having us in your hometown. It's been such an incredible experience so far.
So let's have a quick look at the scenic shots around Christchurch. Sorry, we're going to actually look at Sam Blinky showing.
He doesn't go very far on one wheel or two wheels, does he? He's always on one wheel. And I think the saddest thing for me is that I'm just not going to get to spend as much time as I would like checking out this amazing, amazing spot. So let's take a look here, and we're going to get into the start list as we prep ourselves for the Elite Men's Final. This is our seeding qualifying results.
So yeah, Lockie topping the charts just over 4 minutes. I will give you guys a little insight. The 4 minute barrier has been broken by an under 19 today.
Tyler Waite.
Yep, Tyler Waite. And I have it somewhere down here. I think he did a 3:56.6. So Lockie is obviously going to be trying to improve on that time. And I've actually heard from some of these other boys that they didn't have perfect runs. So we're going to see a real show this afternoon.
Yeah, they didn't have perfect runs, and like we've seen, the tendency always in a final is you're putting a little more energy in. I know for sure you're going to put a lot more effort into that final sprint and into that final pumping section to carry that extra bit of speed, which we've seen has made a huge difference for all of the racers so far today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got our first rider is going to be Ryan Hastings. So they're basically starting in reverse order from their seeding results yesterday.
Yeah, bingo. So the fastest riders will drop last, where we're going to see some of our stars. We've got Tohoto Ariki Penny, 2023 King of Crankworx up against the current reigning King of Crankworx, Ryan Gilchrist. Tohoto's been saying he's focusing more on downhill at the moment. Ryan Gilchrist gunning for that King of Crankworx title again, so it's just going to be an insane, amazing battle out there today.
So far in the festival here in Christchurch, Ōtautahi, at the Christchurch Adventure Park, we've had the Jump Jam popping off on Thursday. That was the start of the festival. The village was full of people having after-work beers, hanging out and watching the action. And then yesterday we had training and we had obviously the seeding race for the downhill.
Seeding race for the downhill and seeding for the pump track as well. So that pump track final is going to get underway tonight. But we had a ton of action yesterday. A bit of a challenge with the slopestyle, so that's going to be going on. All finalists are going to be in the slopestyle tomorrow, and then we're just going to kick back in with the elite downhill finals today.
Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to the afternoon of downhill racing, because that was a fantastic show from the women.
It's going to be a fantastic show from the men and a fantastic show from Pump Track tonight. If you can, catch the action. We're here at Christchurch Adventure Park, and it's just looking exceptional. I can't wait.
All right, we're going to have a close look on the globe spotter here. We're coming in to the South Island of Aotearoa, New Zealand, in the bottom of the world. And we are in Ōtautahi, Christchurch, for round 1 of the Summer Series, and this is the first downhill event of the overall Crankworx Downhill Series. So out of 6, this is the first race, so these riders will be battling for points to go towards that championship. So we're in a very vibrant, cultured city here in Ōtautahi.
Got maybe a fun fact for you that'll challenge you. Lonely Planet. Yeah, maybe a bit of a fun fact for you, Charlie. Did you know Lonely Planet rated Christchurch as one of their top spots for street art in the world?
Really? I didn't know that. That is a fun fact.
Yeah, fun fact for you and for everyone out there. So not only is Christchurch renowned for its outdoor activities, it's also been an incredible place to experience from an art, a culture, a food perspective as well. So get down here. Come check it out. What an amazing
Basically,
spot.
Christchurch is located in the flat part between the Port Hills, which is where we're racing this afternoon, 450 to 500 metre hills around the city, and then inland is the mountains, the Southern Alps, with the big, 2,000, 3,000 metre peaks. And we are right in the middle in this, as you said, the street art, #1 street art spot.
Top. I'm not sure if it's #1, but it's definitely,
it's
definitely in the top. And we were having a bit of a conversation yesterday. That unique nature of the landscape here has caused what's some of the things that are affecting the racers today. Can you talk to us about how the wind works in this valley and why it's posing such a factor to these racers on this downhill course?
Yeah, that's a really good point. We have these localized wind effects, which is basically a thermal wind. So when the plains heat up, where Christchurch is located, all the air rises and it sucks in cold air off the sea. And that's what we're getting these last 2 days. We've had hot, sunny days. The wind, the sea breeze has been picking up throughout the day, and it basically shoots over the Port Hills and it drops down into the Adventure Park, which is lucky because it's not a full-on wind, but it means it's quite gusty. So it comes down at different points and it moves around a little bit. So that's why it's really unpredictable. And the riders the wind has been the main thing they've been battling with. Well, obviously, the really gnarly rocky track, but that stays the same to some regard, whereas the wind can be completely random.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely random wind. The lotto, they've said so far, it's a wind lottery, and you're hoping you're going to catch a tailwind, and it's going to make a big difference into that last section. So I think we're getting ready to get underway with our men's elite final here.
Yeah. Any riders that stick out for you?
Yeah, look, it's always the big names that stand up, right? So we'll get a start list up on the screen here and see who we've got coming up. But for me, it's a bit of the mixture. We've talked about Tohoto, we talked about Ryan Gilchrist, but we also have, young Lockie Stevens-McNabb, who made his big jump to the big leagues last year at Crankworx Rotorua, with the Taniwha downhill, where he's made that move. He was on the Union Trek supported team, and now he's made the move to Trek Factory Racing, and I have to say it's looking pretty good on him.
Sam Gale there, number 10, 10th last to drop. I'm really excited to see what he's got because I know he had a big mistake yesterday.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to see him go into the hot seat. And obviously, these two, Lockie and Tohodo. And let's go back to the top and have a look. We've got Ryan Hastings as our first rider who's going to kick it off in the male elite downhill at the Redemption Downhill here at the Christchurch Adventure Park. So only 19 years old. This is Jenna, who just dominated the women's elite. This is her brother.
Oh, this is little
younger
bro.
brother Ryan. Yeah.
Well, he's got the downhill genetics, that's for sure.
He's on that prototype pivot. It was probably a hand-me-down for me to Bernard or Jenna.
Yeah, that's a good perk to be able to get access to bikes like that. And look at him gapping into that corner. That's something we haven't seen yet so far on the cranks, but absolutely attacking the top of this course.
I wonder if the wind's picking up. You can see the tape moving in the trees there. Chainsaw.
Here in the claims, he's setting up for this gap line.
Yeah.
Oh, getting a bit squirrely in the landing, but he's 1.6 up. Hasn't phased him too much. He's still carrying great speed out of that rock section at the bottom. And let's see if these top 20 elite riders are all going to opt for this big step down. And he's just made it. And you can see, little T-bog.
Oh, he must have had a mistake, do you think?
No, yeah.
12 seconds back.
Especially in that second sector, sorry. That bit wouldn't have been any bit of momentum change, so he must have had an error in that section.
Yeah, exactly, because it's all pretty gravity fed, isn't it?
And that explains the T-bog. You often don't see downhill racers take a appendage off in a race run unless they're having a bit of fun and they know it's a bit of a throwaway.
Ryan will be gutted. I'll be really interested to see what he's actually done in that mistake. We might be able to get a chat with him once he gets down here.
And that's one of the challenges here with such a long track. You have to be so consistent and through not just those rocky sections, but all sections of the track. And like we saw with Lou and her crash earlier, it's sometimes not the tricky section that gets you. It's just that moment in between sections that, maybe your brain's already focused on the next bit, or you're planning your next round, or you're chilling for a second, then you get caught out. And that's all it takes when you're trying to put together a almost 4-minute lap down a track this long.
Yeah, even keeping your brain firing for 4 minutes when your oxygen is all going to your muscles. That's difficult enough.
No kidding.
What's interesting is he's actually pulled back time even though he's been cruising through the motorway section. So he's kind of held that 12.5 second buffer even though he was cruising. So I guess he's just pumping and having fun with it. Maybe that's the ticket.
Maybe it is, and I think, when just to clear all those jumps, you have to carry good momentum.
That was good over that blind rise, just skimming his wheels on the left.
Almost a full trust exercise, because he can't see where he's landing on that. So he's pulled up, transferred across to the left, knowing or hoping that that landing's going to be the same as his last practice run. And this is where things got a little squirrely, but he managed it very well. He's trying to break through that loose dust that's on top of that volcanic rock, which is just so hard to do.
Yeah, the bike looks like it's pretty settled through there. What you might not know is how stiff these bikes are set up. So as these guys do their practice runs, every run they'll go slightly faster and they'll stiffen the bike up a little bit. And by the time it gets to the race run, the bikes are, if you're riding it slow and if you're riding it on a more flatter trail, it feels almost unrideable. It's so stiff.
Yeah, it almost feels like a dirt jump bike or something like that.
But once you're going fast, then it starts to come alive.
And that's the ticket. Hey, you have to not only plan for your practice runs to get comfy on the track, but you've got to make sure your bike's where it needs to be when you're at your fastest. And we are back up to the top.
We've got number 41, who's Bradley Harris. He's living in Queenstown. I think he's an Alexandra local back in the day. He's had some incredible results on the Enduro bike. We used to race Enduro with Bradley over on the Enduro World Series. And it's great to see him on the big rig. Let's see how he goes compared to Ryan through here. that corner's just exploding in dust now. There's not too much left.
Not much left, but he carried great momentum out of that turn. You could see he had to actually downshift 2 or 3 times. You could hear it between that sections, pre-hopping into this rock garden. Again,
Off
going
the
left.
top.
Oh, but he's gone more
1
middle.
second up. He's 1.1 up. He made it look easy through there. Just smooth.
And he's done that same gap, but opted for more of a middle line, which seems to have kept him straighter into that next rock section. He's keeping good momentum, tagging that step up a bit.
He's lost 6.5 seconds.
In that same section as Griffiths as well. So maybe there's something going on in that bit of trees that we can't quite see.
Yeah.
And if you remember back to the course preview, what's going on in there? I think they call it the black jandal section of the track, where there's a few doubles, but there's some really tight corners as well. And they looked a little bit dry. So it could be just that a little bobble, not being able to carry some exit speed out of those corners, which back to back and in sequence could cause a result like losing 5 and 5.5 seconds.
Easily. Like, you see it often, you see riders shrouping, especially on Instagram, where they're basically drifting the back of the bike. The back of the bike's sliding sideways. But if you do that on a race run, you're just losing speed, because that's almost a brake. A wheel sliding sideways is slowing you down. So as soon as you start bike sliding and moving around, that rider's actually slowing down. So like we said before, the riders who look slow and smooth are often moving faster.
Yeah, all the energy is pushing their bike forward rather than pushing their bike side to side. So if your bike's sliding side to side, it's not going as fast forward as it could go.
Exactly.
And so that's maybe what's happened with Bradley here, but hopefully we get a chat to him. He's looking super strong.
Oh,
yeah,
the
huge on that triple.
Oh, into second place, 5.4 back.
And so we've got Jed Stanton holding it down in the hot seat with a fast time of a 4:11.492.
So yeah, Jed's delivered a heater. And oh, there's definitely some crosswind in that top section out of the start gate there, I reckon.
Yeah, and they seem to be navigating that first jump well, but even going from a sheltered start dropping in, you're gonna notice that straight away. I like this. Look at that gap into the middle.
Look at him just shifting his body, shifting his legs and hips across to keep his weight vertically over the center of gravity of his bike. So when the bike's a little bit sideways, he moves his hips to counteract that. And he's tucked in as well. I love to see someone tucked in for aerodynamics.
Yeah, huge. And then boosting just for fun into that last corner. What a great run. All right, we've got Jed Stanton in the hot seat, our current leader. Let's, how you doing down here, Jed?
Yeah, good. How are you guys?
Good, mate. So you made the trip over from Australia. Congratulations. What did you get done in that run to put down the fastest time today?
Oh, had a lot of fun, yeah. I was lucky to hang on to some moments in the top section there, but managed to clean it up down the bottom and gave it everything on the sprint to the finish line. So stoked to be sitting here in the hot seat.
Yeah, awesome work, Jed. We're going to head back up to the top, but congrats on a good run, and hopefully you hang on to that hot seat.
Well done, Jed.
Cheers, guys.
All right, we've got Baxter Mayweld in the start gate. He's a Crankworx regular. We've seen him do well in speed and style, slaloms, lots at Crankworx cans, and he's been putting the work in here in Queenstown, so he's made the move over to focus on getting some more time on that downhill bike. So let's see if it pays off. He's looking smooth so far, setting up for these corners.
I don't envy these guys coming bombing into this rocky, rough section with the dappled light. You've come out of the open, your eyes are adjusted to the bright, and then suddenly it's all dark and dusty. It would be quite scary. I think. It would be almost like riding blind in some of those bits.
Well, and not only that, but there are blind ridges, so they're popping into the stuff. Baxter's up by 2.259,
Baxter.
and he is hauling through that bottom section.
His Queenstown downhill training is obviously paying off.
Well, and maybe that's his Queenstown dappled light training as well, because the pine forest around Queenstown makes it pretty hard to see, and Baxter's no stranger to that stuff, carrying some good speed over that step up, but was losing.
3 seconds.
Oof. But he's still in touch, so 0.7.
Yeah,
Baxter often runs a pretty stiff setup on his bike, so that might be beneficial here for this lower bit of the track.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So the guys who are more into the big jumps and they're sort of pumping and riding jumps and flowier trails run a stiffer setup. And the guys who are into the techie, sort of slower speed downhill riding have a softer setup. So Bex is definitely one of the former.
Yes, and he spends a lot of time digging on dream track, hitting big jumps, but also racing downhill. So like you say, he errs on that stiffer side of bike setup. And look, he's clawing back. He's lost a little bit.
He's just moving backwards by 2/10.
But he's on it. He's not giving up. And like we saw, it's all still to play for it. Even in this last section of the track, people have made up seconds.
Well, yeah, 1 second's nothing, is it?
It seems to be, you know, on a typical downhill track, like we said, a second's a big gap. On this track, it seems like you can find a second with a cheeky little inside or just a really good downward force, downward pump through one of these key sections. So let's see how Bax is done coming into this final, keeping it low over that triple into the finish.
Oh, he pulled back.
He pulled back
3/10 into second place. That's fantastic. But Jed Stanton holds on to the hot seat with a 4:11, so he's 10 seconds back on Lockie's fastest time from yesterday. But we have to remember that Tyler Waite did the fastest time today so far, under 4 minutes, 3:56.
And Baxter looking so strong on this replay. You know, he did such a good job to manage that rough rock section where he was super centered on the bike, and he just let that bike flow over the rocks, controlled, nothing bothered him.
Popping out of the trees with style. It's quite good to see the back wheel of the bike always tries to kick sort of halfway through that rock garden. You see the riders, these guys, especially Baxter then, did a really good job of keeping the back wheel just back onto the ground and not riding the front.
That's right, yeah. And it's impressive to see because they have such skill and such confidence in their equipment that their back wheel will kick up where a normal rider might freak out and have a bit of a moment. They're just like, yeah, cool. And then guide the back wheel down and keep on charging.
It's intuition. You have to know exactly when to let your legs go limp and let the force come through the bike and when to push against the bike.
100%. It's just so much about the feel out there, reacting to the track underneath us.
So the standings at the moment, we've obviously got Jed Stanton with a 4:11 leading the pack, and then Baxter behind him and Bradley Harris 5 seconds back.
So some super quick times. We're gonna head back up to the top and see who we've got next here in the gate. Christian Hauser, just 18 years old.
I'm excited to see this. Christian Hauser's been on the World Cup last year, having some awesome results in the Junior World Cup Series.
And these Crankworx Summer Series events are such a great race for all these downhill racers to get a quick bit of an assessment, see where they're at, see where their equipment's at, getting prepped for these World Cup and Crankworx World Tour events coming later in the season.
Yeah, these guys just like to get as much racing under their belt, especially at a young age like Christian. I think we saw there is 18 or 19, so yeah, they just need experience.
He's done a little hand tap on the conduit, holding up the tape on the way, and he's 4.6 seconds up on the entry.
Doing something
He's
special.
airing into these rock gardens.
His bike was all over the place coming through in between those two rock gardens.
Oh my goodness.
7.7 up. Oh. Hauser is on a burner. We've got a few Groms in the camera there just shouting some encouragement, which is exactly what you'd want to hear at that point. Scrubbing through.
Oh my gosh.
No!
And
he's missed the tranny on that one.
We haven't seen too many riders go too fast in this lower section, right? Everyone's working so hard for speed. He's almost carried too much momentum, missed that backside, came into almost the front of the next roller, got unsettled. So he is hauling, to say the least.
Oh, have we gutted about that? But
no.
He did have a good buffer, so I'm hoping he's lost 2 seconds, 2.6 seconds. But if he just keeps on pedaling hard and not giving up, he'll be in the green. So yeah, the transition between the downslope and the upslope, you've got to get it down perfectly, like Reece just mentioned, to generate maximum speed. If you get that timing slightly wrong, when your legs are burning, it's hard to get the timing right.
And it's almost a bit of a mental battle as well, because as a rider, you're coming out of that rough rock section being like, whoa, job done, the hard work is done, I've made it, I've just got to hit some jumps to the bottom. But as we can see, that couldn't be further from the truth, because we're losing seconds in these bottom bits of the track, and he's only just 1.7 up into this
so
finish.
Lost another four seconds in that last split.
insane. So he's hoofing. Let's take a look back to the top.
This was, watch the way the bike's just moving around.
And where other people are braking there, he's almost floated, aired into that section. Amazing.
Christian Hauser with a really impressive run. An unfortunate mistake in the motorway section, but he still managed to hang on to it. Let's see if we can see the drone angle. And we're gonna check in with Christian now. How was that run, mate? We saw you just miss the transition on one of those rollers. Did that affect you at all?
Yeah, I reckon that was a big mistake on that bib. Definitely slowed me down for the whole next session. But yeah, it was a good run, really smooth on the top half. Not really big mistakes or anything, just messed up a little bit that last bit, but it is what it is.
Oh man, and you were by far the smoothest, the fastest in that top section, so congratulations. Can you talk us through what actually happened with that roller double before you entered the high speed section?
I think I just wanted to hit the shark fin a little bit lower than usual to try to keep the bike low, but it was too low, so I kind of messed up.
I just tagged it a bit. Well, congratulations on jumping into the hot seat. What an amazing run. We're going to head back up to the top. Nice work.
Well done, Christian. Awesome.
Thanks, boys.
Here we have Liam Barclay, the Kiwi himself, from Timaru. Oh!
Spicy out of the gate.
He was pedaling just as his bike got unsettled. I reckon the wind might be picking up at the top of the course slightly.
But it doesn't seem to have affected him too much as he comes in nice and composed and control into this first techie tight turns at the top.
So he's got a 4:20 as his qualifying time, and he'll be looking to go hopefully under 4:10 if he wants to get a chance at this hot seat.
Here he is looking really smooth. He didn't really hop off that gap, so just kept the wheels on the ground, floated over those rocks, gapping into that last rock garden. He's 5 seconds back after that first section, which just shows you how fast Christian was coming into that pit.
He's done something in the top, hasn't he?
We said before that it was like some riders look smooth, some riders look fast. He somehow looked smooth and fast at the same time. So
just waiting for Liam to come out of the trees here. And there's there's quite a lot of corners and off-camera stuff going in between this drop and what we've seen just before. So hopefully he's just had a minor issue, but here he comes out.
Looks like
has he
maybe
got a flat tire?
Oh, bugger. So he's got a flat somewhere in there. And yeah, if you look back to that course preview, a flat tire is going to be a bit of a deal breaker on a finish like this, on a track like this.
Look at the bike just squirming around. There's nothing worse than riding down with a flat tire. At least it's the rear, not the front.
At least he'll be able to roll all the way through. I think he'd be getting the chairlift back down. If it was the front, he'd be hiking back out.
But I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more flat tires yet, because there's so many sharp-edged, square-edged rocks that just eat your wheels down here.
And like you mentioned before, they're a little bit hidden by the dust. And can you talk to me, Charlie? Get your geologist hat on. Why is this dust so unique here in the Christchurch Adventure Park?
Yeah, so we have it's actually got a specific, it's got its own name. It's called Loess, and it's a wind-blown silt that's come from the Southern Alps. And it's blown and deposited across the Banks Peninsula, which is where we're racing this afternoon. And it's really, really microscopic ball bearings, essentially. So it's spheres, lots of spheres all sitting together. And when they're dry, there's nothing holding them together. So they just basically, it's like riding on miniature ball bearings. So you've got no traction, and it puffs up into 10 or 15 centimeters of dust.
So then imagine taking miniature microscopic ball bearings and then putting them on top of like jagged volcanic rock. And that's basically the equation that Liam's just had to manage up there. And that's why keeping your tires inflated at the speed that these riders are going is a mission in and of itself. So much relying on the equipment, the bike setup, and staying smooth in that top section of the course.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like you said before, it's all the rocks are hiding under that dust. So we have that really light, fine dust that covers the rocks, and then you can't see them.
As we see Liam get through it, it's a little bit dusty, so he might have had a bingle as well as a flat, which is which is a tough break.
Yeah, well, he's still in one piece and walking and talking, so we're happy about that. Let's have a look to see if we can spot anything. Oh, it could have even been there.
It honestly could have, and that's all it takes is you could see his wheel just stepped out and hit the side on the rock, which might have been enough to just cause a bit of a pinch or a little bit of a slow leak that by the time he got to that point in the track, it had lost air.
Okay, and I think our next rider coming up will be Luke Wayman. He's a Christchurch local, and he will be showing us how it's done.
Also 18 years of age. On this Atherton racing program, that's got to be a new bike for Luke, is it?
Yeah, very exciting to see him with the Atherton crew. Luke, he proved himself last year on the Junior World Cup with some fantastic results. And yeah, he's a Christchurch local. He will know how to ride this sort of terrain, this lowest silt. Yeah, he knows the microscopic ball bearings. He might not know the structure of them, but he knows how to ride them and what they feel like underneath his tires.
And that's all that matters, like you said before. It's the intuition like that to pre-hop into a rock garden.
That was sick.
Carrying such good speed, gapping.
Another good hop in.
But he's still 2 seconds back.
Yeah, so Hauser has really lit up that top sector 1. Oh, he's just, he's coming beautifully over that step up. He's just staying low and just gliding over the landing there.
That's it. And this is the section where Hauser had a little bit of that bobble. So if Luke can stay fast and keep the rhythm here on this bit, which he's looking to be doing pretty well, getting sideways on that step down, he might be able to claw back some of that time. Let's see how he goes on this next split here.
So the Athertons have now, I believe, I'm not sure if it's on Luke's bike, but they now have a belt drive on some of their race bikes. So they're probably going for that the Gates prize.
The challenge, the $100,000
challenge.
belt drive challenge.
So I want to see Luke. He'll be one to watch in the future going for that Gates prize, I reckon.
And he's pulled back almost 2 full seconds, only 6.
I wish we could tell him. He's so close.
You're so close, Luke. Keep pedaling. You're almost there.
So what was he? He's 600ths of a second off from going into the hot seat.
And look at that breeze, though, coming at him.
He's definitely been hit by a gust, but it's just settled down here, so he might be all right for the last sector.
Looking good, catching the backsides, coming all the way through, staying nice and low in that speed tuck position. Getting that triple smooth into the finish. Let's see it. I think it's going to be...
It does it! Yes, Luke. Brilliant.
And coming down with a 4:08. So keeping in mind, Lockie Stevens-McNabb's fastest qualifying time was a 4:01. We've had Tyler Waite go sub 4 minutes today as well. And all of the riders almost so far have been dropping faster and faster times on a more blown out track than we had yesterday. So it's still all to play for. It's going to be an exciting final.
It's going to be so exciting. It's like it already is really exciting. It's like you said earlier. It's everyone tries that little bit harder in their race runs that gives them, maybe 5 seconds or even 10 seconds on this long track. We're going to have a chat with Luke now. Luke, how are you feeling after that? What's the hardest part of the track up there?
Oh, mate, it's that sprint. I'm still catching my breath, but no, it's just got real rough here. But that sprint definitely tops it off.
Well, you obviously did something special on the sprint because you were slightly in the red coming in and then you pulled it back. So what's the technique? Are you speed tucking?
I just tucked as much as I could, and I didn't feel too much of a headwind until like that last bit over the rise. But yeah, just put the watts down, tried my best.
Awesome, mate. Well, well done, and congrats on getting to the hot seat. Hopefully you can hang on to it.
Sweet, thank you, man.
Oh, what a race so far.
It's awesome,
Luke Wayman, the local boy, has pulled through. He's in the hot seat. We had an amazing start, top half of the track for him, but he's clawed it back in the final. What do you think is going to be the deal maker breaker? Top half of the course, bottom half of the course?
Yeah, I think, it's the bottom half.
Yeah.
Everyone can ride the top half well. We're going to see the top half right now, but the bottom half you just have to keep attacking. We've got Oscar Griffiths from the UK.
And another young rider who's had a ton of success on the World Cup as a junior. He's now 18. He's working his way up through the ranks. Yeah. And let's see what he's got here.
He's on that intense program along with Louise Ferguson and Millie Yonset. Oh, it Looks like he might have just stalled out a little bit of speed in that corner, but he pedaled out of it.
He came in so hot that he just slid, and he hooked up pretty decently, but we'll see it. And all of these elite male riders gapping that left-hand side, but you can see how washed out the transition is after the landing, that they're gapping into a bit of a dice roll, I would say.
Yeah, they are rolling the dice there. You can see his front wheel tried to get away on him, and then he just managed to muscle it back underneath his center of gravity.
But he's up 1.348, so he's done something special. You could see he was moving out of that gap, so we'll see when he comes into frame. We're not quite sure what's happened in the second sector. That's your black jandals bit of the track where we've got tight back-to-back-to-back corners. There's some rock gaps, there's some doubles, there's some tech. So we'll see. Hopefully he's all good. Oh, he's still hauling.
Is his number plate slightly bent?
He's definitely got some dirt on the back.
Yeah, 37 seconds back, so he's had a hugie somewhere, but his bike's in one piece. He looks like he's in one piece.
He's definitely riding like he's in one piece.
Yeah, he's ripping. It's just, there's so much going on in the top half of the track, and just anything can catch you out, especially when it's dust top to bottom.
Dust top to bottom in such a long course. You know, you have to be switched on, you have to have your mind focused, your body ready for such a long period of time, at almost 4 minutes for the fastest times. Some of the challenges, like, they can all ride this track and ride it well, but to do that back to back to back repeatedly through qualifying, through practice, and then again in a final to put down consistent times is such a big challenge.
Yeah, I was actually going to say this is one of the longest downhill tracks in the world that these guys will be racing on. So Fort William is maybe a little bit longer, but this is one of the longest. And I'd love to go and ride it, but I would probably stop a couple of times, have a breather, have a chat with the boys, and then keep going.
I think I would do 1 minute at a time. 4 stops for me.
But Oscar's not hanging around. He's pulled back a second. He's pulled back a second since that big crash that must have happened in that black jandal part of the trail. And he comes, and he's pulled back another second. So there's time to be found on the motorway. He's not stoked.
Yeah, pardon the French there. Obviously,
it just said he washed out.
Never stoked when those riders go down, but that's what happens when they're pushing at these speeds, at this level. You can see him gapping, and he was risking it for the biscuit, let's be honest. He was putting it all out there. Huge respect. Gapping into those rock sections.
I love watching the different bikes just working through that section.
And we heard Millie allude to this earlier. That intense bike is purebred, thoroughbred race bike, right? So it's ready for those types of situations. It might not be your average rider's favorite bike to ride because it's so ready for the race setup, but it's going to do its best work in these types of situations.
Yeah, well, we saw him pull back maybe 2 seconds in the motorway, so it's definitely making it work for him. So we're going to go back to the top now for our next rider, which is James McDermott, another Kiwi, racing for the Alliance. James has been overseas the last few years and had some great results on the World Cup. So I'm excited to see what he can throw down on the Crankworx Summer Series track here in Otatahi, Christchurch, at the Adventure Park. Beautiful. I like that line out of the start gate he has there. He missed that rock that we've seen people getting hung up on.
Yeah, and he's just not doing too much, right? Just staying in a straight line, getting set up for that first double. So that's setting him up for success. Coming hard, a little bit of a foot down, but he's managed it super well. He didn't get those couple of cranks across that traverse, but it doesn't seem to have held him up too much at all. So let's see as he hops into this loose, rocky key section here.
We've got a wind gust absolutely ripping through the finish corral. So let's see if this same gust hits him as he comes down. Light work through the rocks.
Oh, and
he's in touch, 1 second. Oh, he's lost 0.8, so 1.8. That, I would say that's still in touch.
I would say so.
There's a few seconds in the motorway.
We've seen more than 2 seconds get found and lost in this bottom half of the track. So depending on how motivated, trained, and prepped James is for this bottom section, let's see if he can claw back a couple of seconds.
So he's got nice tight-fitting clothing. We were actually talking about it yesterday. There is the aerodynamics make such a huge difference in gravity sports, and we often see it with ski jumpers. So the guys doing the freestyle skiing, when they do a lap in their birthday suit, they often always overshoot the jumps by about 30 feet and crash. So these guys are trying to have as close to skin-tight clothing as they can while still fitting within the rules and regulations.
Well, and you said when you needed to do this on certain types of tracks in your downhill history, you actually went down a size in pants and top. Is that true?
Yeah, exactly. So I've got a size of pants that actually fits, which is a 32. And then I can squeeze into a 30. So for a downhill or enduro, I sometimes squeeze into the 30 to get a bit of extra aerodynamics.
I love it. And as long as that doesn't hinder your pedaling, let's see how James has gone. He's maintained through that section. Clawed back about 0.4 of a second, but it wasn't quite enough. He's dropped into third place here.
He's behind Hauser and Luke Wayman, but the times are tight. I'd say on a track of this length and caliber, 1 or 2 seconds is really nothing.
1 or 2 seconds in a 4-minute track, right? And look at him, just low, so smooth and controlled as he gapped into this first bit where, if you look closely, he just dabbed that foot a little bit, carried good speed, still able to get back in and jump that little double in the next traverse, but wow, they're on the limit.
Yeah, no, well done, James. I love that rocks drop there, just as the bike unweights and then taps off the nose. Beautiful.
And you can see a few of the riders going more central through that line, trying to get a direct route into this next step down waterfall rock section, whereas he went a bit farther left. It was a bit more consistent, and he was able to control that bike and carry good speed into the next section. So we're gonna drop in here to a little bit of highlights to see what we've been getting done so far.
Let's take a look at the leader highlights. This is Luke Wayman on his new Atherton race bike. I just went and checked it before, and he's running a belt.
Oh, so he's on the belt.
You were right. He is on the belt. He's doing some autographs there as well. And Luke, he was really composed. And I'm trying to remember what his qualifying time was. He definitely took some time out of his seeding run.
It was over a 4:10, so he took some time out of that, 3 or 4 seconds out of his qualifying time. So he'll be stoked with that. And like you said, composed. You know, when we chatted to him at the bottom, he was the same. He was like, yeah, you know, pedaled as hard as I could, and that's racing. So very chill, even keel demeanor from him. So that's what it takes to manage a track like that and be consistent and put down a time like Luke's done today.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at the current standings. We obviously have Luke, 1.6 seconds up on Christian Hauser. And then just slightly behind him is James McDermott with a really smooth run that we just saw. He's the last rider down the hill, and we're now waiting for the final few riders to tackle this redemption downhill.
Yes, so we've got a stacked field. You can see us catching the wind here, so it's affecting us down the bottom. It's going to be affecting these riders on the track. But we've got some hardline specialists, Bernard, Sangale, these racers who have done Tohoto, and then we've also got the World Cup crowd. So I don't know, what's your predictions?
I'm really excited to see Sammy G. So Sam Gale, he is a hardline specialist. He's also a really good racer on the World Cup and here in New Zealand. And he was 10th yesterday with a mistake in his run. And he told me he reckons he's got at least 10 seconds in the bank. So big calls from Sammy G. But we're going to go and hear from him now. Here is the start list. You can see the man we can talk about, Sam Gale, sitting in 10th after yesterday's seeding qualifying round. And then, like the people we were talking about before, Bernard Kerr, we've got Sam Blinkensop, Tohoto, and Lockie.
And so cool to see the Kiwi boys up the top. And we've got, speaking of Sammy G, plate number 11 up at the top with us now. Getting ready to rock.
Yeah, he's a pleasure to watch on the bike, this man. Out of Nelson, he's been spending some time training in Queenstown. He's been pedaling his enduro bike more than ever this summer. He's feeling fit. I really hope he can deliver something for us this afternoon.
And you can tell whenever you see
straight to the right-hand side. Right is right. So on the And he's just kicking a foot.
And you can see just how loose it is, right? Every single rider that's come down, there's some moments happening. He's had to clip out. He managed to handle it super well, and he's carrying huge pace into this gap, opting for that central line. Look how fast he's going to this next section, Sammy G.
He is a pleasure to watch. He can mix speed with style without an issue.
Look at that.
Beautiful work.
Speaking of style.
He's been trying to teach me to whip for about 5 years. Still hasn't managed to do it yet, so
work in progress.
Work in progress, but Sammy, he sure can do it himself. He's also very aerodynamic. He's wearing some tight clothes. I told him to go and get some big, heavy earrings with some nice gold and diamonds in them to weigh him down and give him a bit more momentum.
Yeah, this is where you'd want to tape the brick to the underside of your down tube, I think, to get that extra bit of speed. You know, maybe on one of those fancy specialized bikes where you can add the weights or something like that. This would be the moment. Yeah, ankle weights, like
what? You go for a run or a jog with your ankle weights. Sammy G, he's pretty weighted down. He's always running a silver chain around his neck. He's got a bit of style.
Yeah, style on the bike, style in the kit setup as well. And he's in touch. 1.7. You think he's got that in the legs to sprint it home, pump to the finish, and take the win?
Oh, I reckon it's going to be close. He's got that speed tuck looking really good. Look, I'm going to say I want to see him do it, but I reckon he's going to go close. Here we go. He does it! Yes! Sammy! Sammy G.
And he'll be stoked with that. So hard. You can hear him in the background. Oh my, that was so hard.
Look at that, over the grass. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. We can check in with him and see if we can. And he had a mistake, so a few mistakes, and he pulls back almost 2 seconds on the motorway. Must be those earrings, those gold earrings.
If we've learned anything so far today, it's definitely that all is never lost. You know, you can have a bobble, you can have a small hiccup in the top section of the track, and if you've got the motivation and the fitness, you're going to be able to claw it back down the bottom. Look at that. As he's skimming, we've seen that back wheel get kicked up a fair bit for a few different, most riders in fact, in that lower rock section. He just tap the nose, cool, calm, collected.
And then watch how low he stays over the bike coming through here. He's speed tucking, bit of style too, and he's just like cutting through the wind, so he pulled back 2 seconds. We're gonna go and hear from Sammy G now. Sam Gale, what happened when you had the foot unclipped in that first tight right in the woods at the top?
Oh my gosh, dude, I came in just a little bit too hot, and then I leant in, but it was just a bit slippery coming down, and it's quite loose now, so I just unclipped and had to put a foot down, otherwise probably would have lost the front.
Oh, mate, and then you managed to pull back almost 2 seconds in the motorway. What was the secret in the motorway?
That pedaling, bro. Nah, I just tried to keep a nice speed tuck because I feel like sometimes it's quicker to almost just stay tucked than stand up and pedal, but just tried to mix it up both and it ended up working out well.
Awesome, mate. Well, thank you and well done on the hot seat. Hang on to it.
Thank you, bro. I'll try.
And we are straight back up to the top.
Nico Arnold.
Another
Kiwi.
Kiwi boy, Nico Arnold.
The Kiwis are out swinging. He's from Wanaka, and Nico has been proving himself. I believe he's on board a Zero, another belt-driven bike. What do you make of the belt drives? Have you had a go?
I haven't had a go yet, but they look fantastic. And one of the coolest things about these bikes is they're near silent, right? Yeah. When they roll past you, they sound so smooth. And I'm a big believer that if your bike sounds good and it makes you feel good, like if your bike sounds quiet, you feel smooth, so then you ride smoother and faster. And that certainly seems to be the case here. Look at the pace.
He's flying. I just saw the tape drop as he came past, so we'll check in the replay, but he's 1.2 up in Sector 1. Let's have a look what Sector 2, what damage he's done. He's done a bit more damage.
He's defeated the Jandal section of the track that's been claiming a few people. Still looking good.
He can handle the Jandal. Can he do what Sammy G did and just, well, was flow and pedal through this bottom half?
Well, and this is it. This is where Sammy G, like we saw, pulled back almost a couple of seconds. So this could go either way. He's looking like he's carrying great speed so far. He's breathing like he's putting in every ounce of effort that he's got. You can see him searching side to side to catch as much transition as possible, because that's also going to be the key. If you have a flat lander, it's almost as bad as casing a jump, right? So we need to catch those backsides
nicely over the
straight
step
on the
up.
gears, well, on the belts.
Yeah, so it's got a gearbox. Just single speed, but then all the gears change inside.
Internal gearbox, so I think that maybe has a shifting advantage as well, right? Where you can just crank through a few gears and get into whatever exactly gear you need. So that could make a big difference for him, carrying some momentum and putting down big power in this bottom sector.
Yeah, he's a strong lad, Nico, so he will be putting down everything into each pedal stroke. He's definitely in touch. I would say
it'll be close.
It's going to be so close.
Yeah.
Oh, he just goes outside.
And look, that's such a testament to what Sammy G's put down in that bottom section in terms of pace. And
So
you
he goes
could
into fifth. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, you could see that Sammy G made quite a lot straighter lines. So the course is weaving side to side, but he was kind of taking insides and just riding less of the track. Where in this run, we saw a little bit more side to side action, which can sometimes mean you're just traveling a longer distance, which takes more time.
Yeah, Nico. So he was looking really good along this motorway section, but somewhere in the end of the motorway, he's either hit a wind gust or he's made a slight mistake.
And you can see even he's nailed it on this step up, got straight on the pedals. There's a step down coming up here close to the finish where he just tagged it a little, a fraction of a case, and that's all that it takes sometimes. All right, coming up, we've got here our last 8 riders on track. Up next, we've got my Canadian boy, Tegan Cruz from the course preview. We've got some really fast Australians. Bernard Kerr, fresh off a hardline, very successful top 5 at hardline last week. And then our top 3 Kiwis, Blanky, Tuhoto, and Lockie Stevens-McNabb. I cannot wait to see what happens.
I'm getting excited, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm hoping that the wind, we just have some huge gusts coming through. I hope it doesn't really change for these guys because we want it to be a fair race. And it's been kind of hit and miss. It's been on and off. So we're going to go at the top now and see what Tegan is dealing with in the winds at the top of Christchurch Adventure Park here in Otautahi. With a 4:15 in qualifying, he's going to be looking to better that time by about sort of 8 to 9 seconds to put himself into the hot seat.
Yeah, and Tegan grew up, you know, in a nice bit of country town, well, a little dissimilar to Christchurch, but in Pemberton, British Columbia. So he's no stranger to high winds. He's no stranger to hard, long descents. And he's been putting down intervals all off season. And he grew up racing BMX as well. So this lower section of track will actually probably suit him fairly well. So let's see how he goes in this first sector. He's looking good so far, gapping into that rock. Up by 2 seconds, Charlie.
Oh my goodness. He's done something.
Oh, and the
onto the back, and he's 4.8 up.
Left.
He might get time taken off for the style. He won't actually, but he is 4.8 seconds up. So he's done something special in the top half of the track. And now he's got to try and carry that speed through the motorway.
Yes, he's gone through the rocks, he's gone through the Jandals corners, and now he's just got to carry the momentum to the bottom. Like I say, you can see not looking fatigued, he's not looking tired, he's cranking straight into pumps. So I have a good feeling about this one so far.
Yeah, well, he's your compatriot, so
I got to back him.
You got to back him. I'm backing him at this point. He's 4.1 up. He's lost just a tiny bit, just 7 tenths, but he's still got a good buffer.
And he is cranking down in that straight you can see on your screen.
Those intervals paying off, paying their dividends. And he's going to be coming for the last section of trail and then into that bobsled right-hander across the finish any minute.
Has this race made you rethink your intervals training at all, Charlie?
Yeah, it means I need to do more.
I need to do some.
Yeah.
And here he is. Over that triple, into the last corner. Let's see if he hung on.
He's looking good!
And he's up.
Yes!
A huge run from Tegan Cruz with a 4:06.17, putting him in the hot seat.
So Sammy G still did something special in that last sector, but Tegan had that buffer and he went 1.8 seconds faster than Sam Gale.
And that's the coolest part about this track. You can see, again, the back wheel compression kick that we've seen repeatedly from everyone. And check this out. He's done some super cool transfer up here to the left.
Yeah,
to
turn down.
Turn down in and caught a bonus bit of transition to catch the low side of the step down after.
Okay, we're going to hear from Tegan now on the interview. Tegan, that was awesome. We even had some style thrown in on the way down. How did you approach that run?
Yeah, just first race back coming into the season and really happy to be here. Wanted to put a good time and down and try and get some good seat time and yeah, get comfortable back on the bike. So yeah, it was awesome, and yeah, thanks to Crankworx for this. Is an awesome event here at the Summer Series and loving every minute.
Oh, amazing work, and thank you for me for throwing it down for the Canadians. Congrats on a good run, Tegan.
Well done, Tegan.
Thanks so much.
Oh, and dropping into this top 8, no shortage of action. Sammy G has definitely done something special in that last sector of the track, but there's tons of time left up in the top 2/3, especially in that first rock section and the black jandal section. So we're back up to the top with Carter Sloan, an Aussie boy.
Yeah, he's also 18, so we've had a really good young contingent out this afternoon in this top 10.
Well, this race is also a part of the UCI Oceania Series. So a lot of these young racers are going to be out here chasing points so that they can qualify for some of the World Cups coming up this season.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, the points are up for grabs. And right now, with the changes to the World Cup, you want to be grabbing every point you can. Carter, 4:12 in qualifying, so a rapid qualifying time. He's looking good. Oh, off that nose of the rocks. 0.6 seconds. We might have just seen some of Tegan again, but we're not going to complain because he absolutely ripped the top half of the course. But we will have Carter Sloan coming onto our screen in the near future. This is called the Jandal Road Gap. So Handle the Jandal was a flow trail that used to cross under there, and they've managed to use it for its second purpose and construct this quite large road gap. I haven't hit it yet. I want to, but maybe not when it's
windy. Here we go. This is
cool. So we have Carter Sloan on course. We did get slightly mixed up there, but we're
back.
We are back, and he's ripping, no problem through the rocks. It looks like he's just slowing down. He might have, is he had a mechanical?
I reckon he might have had a mechanical get there because we could see him like slowing down and unclipping his foot at the bottom of that rock section. So very possibly a flat tire, rim ding, something like that. So that's why we haven't seen him popping out into the Jandal Express gap at the bottom. So let's take a look what we have coming up on our screen here. We have some of our top 6 getting ready to drop. So that's Seth Stiley. We saw a bit from him.
Yeah.
He's frothing. Have you bumped into Seth?
No, I haven't seen him in person, but we saw that course preview, and yeah, he's loving it.
Yeah, I got to have a bit of a quick chat with him. He was actually hanging out with Carter, and you know what? He's just so stoked to be here. Local race for him in New Zealand, and he's ready to prove himself. You know, we've seen him do some really big results at other Crankworx events, and so he's qualified well. He's in that top 6, and he's a young rider looking to prove himself, so can't wait to see what he throws down in this run.
I think, yeah, Seth will be one to watch, and then we have Ryan Gilchrist coming up just after him.
The king.
Yeah, and if it gets physical, Ryan is always one to watch.
And one of the things we've seen, as we've chatted about already so far, is Ryan Gilchrist is on his trail bike. So with the gaps seeming to be the way they are, time's being made up the top, but the hot seat's been dictated by that bottom section of the course. And Ryan, we know, is super fit. He's on a smaller bike, and he loves the pump track slalom style of things and the air DH races. So the bottom half of the track is going to be very up Ryan's alley. So I'm super pumped if he can maintain some good pace in that top sector.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see something special from the King this afternoon.
Well, before we see Ryan, let's hear from Seth Stiley on how he found the practice this morning.
Paced a few jumps along the motorway, hit like a huge gust of wind when I came into it. So I had to work real hard. So hopefully the wind, it's tailwind today, gives me a bit of a boost down there, save some energy for the sprint at the end. Should be sick.
Oh, it's good that he wants the tailwind because I think everyone wants the tailwind. But so far, touch wood, we've been pretty lucky with the wind. It hasn't affected the racing too much.
Yeah, we haven't heard too much from the riders saying it's been consistent for everyone, so at least we've got fair racing. And we're going to head back to the top here and see
the man himself. So the local, he will know exactly what to do on the dirt, the loose, lowest, dry dust that we have this afternoon.
And he's in attack mode straight away. You can just see putting every bit of energy into the backsides of those rocks. Smooth gap over that blind crest into these corners. He's held that outside well. He's on the pedals hard across that traverse. He had a 4:12 as his qualifying time. We know he's going to be chasing a lot faster. He's going to try to scrub up a fair bit of time for this run here in the final. Just 1.1 back in that first section.
Oh, and he's lost another half a second.
And Tegan, what we saw from Tegan was he was hauling that top bit, and he had some different creative lines where he caught that big edge of the batter before the step down, which set him up for a huge bit of speed in this bottom sector. He lost a little bit to Sam Gale, who had put down a smoking fast air DH section in the bottom. But let's see if Seth gets that tailwind he was looking for, eh?
Yeah, well, he's manifested it, so that could pay off for him. Like you said, Sammy G has probably had the fastest motorway we've seen throughout this festival here at CAP, Christchurch Adventure Park. He's 3.5 seconds back, so he has lost a little bit more time on this motorway section. He does have quite a baggy shirt on, looks pretty steezy, looks cool, but it might not be helping his aerodynamics.
Yeah, he's got the street cred on lockdown, but sometimes that doesn't help you with the aerodynamics. We were chatting earlier, the jorts aren't going to be your best friend in this type of race, right? We need form fitting, especially when there's a headwind. It's going to make a huge difference on this bottom section, and he's looking good, though.
We need the speed suits, Reese. I think we should be commentating in a speed suit. Oh, 4 seconds back.
He's improved, though, so he's dropped time from his qualifying run, still improved going into 7th place.
He's got to be happy with that. He's down in one piece. He's done a solid run down the mountain this afternoon.
This is a great view here from when it's zoomed out. You can see just how steep that is. That gap on screen from the side doesn't look massive. And then when they zoom out, it's a huge one.
Yeah, look at how far he pre-hopped into that gap we just saw. And look at that!
Oh,
we haven't seen that much of a gap in the midsection yet.
Now, most other riders just staying light, letting their bike move up and down underneath them through that section. He's deliberately compressed before that hole to land on the backside of those rocks, which looked awesome.
And a little bit of a turn down, or a bit of a tweak, I'd say, coming into that triple. Manual across the line. He's got style.
That's why they call him Seth Stiley.
Oh, Stoppy Saturday for Seth Stiley. Now, that's a tongue twister. Okay, so we're going to have a look at Tegan's run. He is our current leader. And I love that line at the top. He just hit all the transitions, all the downsides, and not too many rocks.
And, you know, Tegan's no stranger to a Crankworx final. He's done super well in lots of the different downhills. He rides in Whistler all the time, racing that 1199 track. He had a great race run at Crankworx Whistler last year. So, like you said, you could see a bit of a spicy moment for him. He didn't quite get that gap that we saw from Seth. And it just shows you how fast Tegan was going to be able to lay down that time.
Okay, so we have the current standings. We have Tegan 1.8 in front of Sammy G, Sam Gale, the Kiwi. So currently, your compatriot, the Canadians, leading it. But we've got United Kingdom, we've got Kiwis. Who else do we have? I think we've just got Kiwis and Bernard.
And Aussies.
And one Aussie.
We got the King.
We got Ryan
Gilchrist coming up next.
So it could go down to anyone, but it could be Canadian. We'll see.
Maybe. We will see. We'll
I'm
see.
hoping it's Kiwi.
The track's really fun, exciting. I quite like it. It's like, I was talking to the trail crew and it's like it's two different tracks slapped end to end. It's like a really proper, gnarly sort of like downhill track into an air DH track. So it's nice to finish that exit rock guard and you're like, okay, we're on to track number 2 now.
I think he's illustrated that quite well, right? So he's aware of it. The top half of the track is the rough, rocky downhill part of the track. The bottom half, as soon as you come out of those woods, you get past the Jandals gap, the step down, and then it's all pedals. It's more like an air DH track. So we're gonna see a perfect clash of the downhill bike, the downhill racer from Tegan, up against the king of Crankworx, Ryan Gilchrist.
Ryan Gilchrist on the trail bike. I'm really looking forward to see, especially because we have those time splits, we can see what he puts into the field in different parts of the track. And I reckon, like you said, the air DH section, he's gonna be absolutely attacking.
And also no stranger to form-fitting clothing.
Yes, good
He's
point.
got the vest, he's got the tight pants, so...
And the tight undershirt.
We're gonna put your aerodynamic ski jumping theory to the test here, Charlie.
Yeah, well, let's go and see Ryan Gilchrist at the top, the Australian. He is the king of Crankworx, the reigning king from 2024. And he'll be looking to back that up in 2025.
And so going 4:09 in his qualifying run.
He's on the trail bike.
He's attacking straight out of the gate.
Yeah, so he'll be looking to better that time of 4:09. Setting up on the left-hand side of the bridge.
And this is where I think you'd be wishing you were on a bit more of a downhill bike, right?
Yeah.
So he's carrying great momentum. He's working through those holes, moving that bike a lot to manage it.
Yeah, I'm so impressed to see him ripping the trail bike through this. Because for anyone who's ridden the CT GC Rock Garden, which is what he's coming into now,
and he's still gapping into those rocks,
they know how rough it is. They know that going through there that fast on a trail bike is something that not many people could do. Ryan making it look easy. We know he's strong. We've got a big gust of wind coming through the commentating tent.
And he's 2 seconds back on that first split.
Will it affect him? He's
10 seconds back. So he might have had a bit of an issue in the Black Jandal section of the course where there is some big rocks and some big tech. So we'll hopefully find out from Ryan at the bottom. But if anyone could possibly pull back 9 seconds, we saw Lou do it earlier. This man's got the juice, he's got the gas. No one scrubs and pumps a roller like Ryan Gilchrist. So let's see what he's got here.
Yeah, he's looking smooth. What's fascinating for Ryan is he's racing this downhill final, on his enduro bike, full suspension, 29-inch trail bike. And then after this, he's going to get on his pump track bike, which is a 26-inch hardtail, completely different machine, and race the pump track.
And he'll be all over it.
And your brain has to be able to switch. So, yeah, credit to him.
Credit to him. And he's already pulled back 2 seconds, a little over 2 seconds as well. So this is his time to shine. This is his moment or section of the course that he loves. So if he keeps charging the way he is, he's gone deep on that one.
Yeah, he's coming right into the finish area now. Manual into the pump. Oh! So he's pulled back a lot of time. Almost 5 seconds. Into 8th place.
And look, he'll be stoked with that, I think, because Ryan's he's the king of Crankworx for a reason, right? He has ridden in all the events. He does especially well in dual slalom, pump track, and racing this downhill track on his trail bike. He's going for points here as well. I don't think he was coming into this expecting to win, but he was just doing his best to get as many points as possible.
Yeah, exactly. He's consistent, and we know he's the world champion in pump track, but he's also one of the best in the world when it comes to racing enduro on the E mountain bike. So to see him come down and go into 8th in the downhill it's not exactly his wheelhouse, but he delivered.
He delivered, and a testament to his bike skills, right? To be able to maneuver a smaller, lighter bike through those big hits is just requires so much skill. So testament to Ryan's skill set, and it's good way to see him kicking off his quest for another back-to-back King of Crankworx title.
Absolutely, yeah. I hope he can back it up in 2025. We've got a really good crowd going on here. There's lots of people in the background getting autographs, hanging out. The festival is popping off, and with perfect timing too, because we have some of the top riders in the world coming down shortly. We're going to hear from Bernard in a minute, and we're going to check in with how he went yesterday and how the track was after his qualifying run yesterday afternoon.
I'll run the
apologies for the
UK,
dust.
we're here at Crankworx Summer Series in Christchurch, and the track is so loose and dusty. It's going to be really fast racing tomorrow, and the wind could play a big role on the huge flat section towards the end of the track.
So he's right about the wind, because we just got blown by a gust down here as Bernard takes off through the top section. We can hear the spectators egging him on from the get-go.
And always a crowd favorite, you know, Bernard. He's the king of the vlog, so everyone will get to see behind the scenes. And he's coming in hot. You know, Bernard's very controlled. You know, he's known for hitting big gaps first, guinea pigging things. But I love to see that he's pushing himself. Look at how
the front
fast.
wheel.
Yeah, just 0.3 off the back. He is hanging it out there. Look at the pace that he's carried through those rocks.
Bernard looking good through there. What's the split going to tell us? 1.1.
And to see the pace that Bernard's carrying through there just shows you what Tegan's done here up top was so special, because he looks super composed, super controlled, and a few creative lines might have made a massive difference for him.
Exactly, so Tegan still put time into Bernard in the top of this course. But BK's going to try everything he can do to get through to the finish line down this motorway section, carrying every kilometre of speed. Or kilometre per hour, I should say. He's got about a kilometre to the finish of flat pumping, pedaling. It's not flat. He's in touch. He's 0.18.
So he clawed back almost a second in that section. He's on the pedals. Tegan also had a very fast bottom section. Still, no one has seemed to top Sammy G's inside line speed tuck to sprint that he pulled off earlier. But all he's got to find is 0.2 to get himself into the hot seat, which we know is very, very possible in this bottom section of track. If you're precise and you nail all these inside lines and backsides, here comes
There he
Bernard.
goes. Cross the line.
He's done it. 2.3. He's found 2.5 seconds in that last split.
He's done a Sammy G.
He's done a Sammy G to Sammy G. Oh my goodness. Oh, he will be so stoked to come down into that hot seat.
Oh, he knew he had more in the tank. After talking to him yesterday, he said he had some mistakes. And it'd be interesting to hear if he had any mistakes in that run. I don't think you can do a perfect run here. Your bike can't be completely stable the whole time.
Maybe
it's
unless
move
you're
around.
Jenna.
Yep.
Jenna seemed to
Jenna's was close, yeah.
But no, as a downhill racer, you never really feel like you've got a perfect run, right? You always could have pedaled more, pumped more. But Bernard certainly...
He's pedaling as hard as possible, and he managed to pull back over 2 seconds in that last
I think
section.
with the split, it was 2.5 seconds in that last sector, so whatever he's done.
All right, well, let's hear from the man himself. Bernard, you managed to pull back 2 seconds in that last split. What did you do on the motorway there?
I think I had good gears. I changed down 2 gears in the air of the step up, because I knew when you land, you're way too hard, so that helped a lot. So maybe that I've just been training with my trainer, Jarrett, and it's starting to pay off, because I rode the top awfully, as you may have seen on that first off camber.
We weren't quite sure. We did see the front wheel skipping around a bit. How hard is it in the trees to stay on line?
It's so slippery and hard up there, dude, and it was so windy. Went off the bridge, got a little bit blown, and then just was facing the wrong way for that first long off camber, and probably lost 2 seconds there. But started to put down like a good-ish run. Would love to have had the top tidy, but it is what it is. It's dusty out there. Fans run real up the hill. Christchurch really put it on, so thanks to everyone for coming out.
Thanks, mate. Congrats on the hot seat. Try hang on to it.
Cheers, dude.
All right, and we're gonna get things back up to the top with our third place qualifier, Sam Blenkinsop. Also on the belt drive zeroed Kiwi brand bike. He had a 4:06 in qualifying. He's been stoked. He's just had such good energy this whole week. I saw him going up the chairlift for this run, and he was just giggling. And let's see what he's got.
He loves it. He's always having fun out there. He's the spring chicken himself at only 36 years old. And like you said, he's actually gone for the tuck-in, because he's experienced. He knows what you need to do when it's windy course, when there's a long motorway section. So he's tucked his jersey into his pants. He's probably running the size smaller pants as well.
And also not a stranger to a bit of a speed pedal in the air. So he's got plenty of opportunities. 1.1 back in the first split, 3 seconds back into the second split. So a little bit loose at the top. He's known. He's known for the pedaling in the air, power down.
Yeah. He's fit. He's always training. He rides pretty much every day. We managed to ride with these boys, both Blinky and Bernard, last week up at Mount Hutt, coaching some of the Mount Hutt college kids. So as part of your school in New Zealand, you can do riding.
That's
They
outstanding.
had 2 days off school and they just got to go riding.
Well, growing up in Canada, we didn't get a lot of opportunity to do mountain biking in school, so that's a pretty exceptional opportunity for the young people here.
Yeah, I think Blinky, he loves being a Kiwi. He embraces what it's about. And he's just putting down as many watts as possible to get to the finish line.
And working for him. So he's clawed back almost 1.2, well, bang on 1.2 seconds.
Yes.
All he's got to find is another 2 seconds to bump out of the hot seat, which is what Bernard just did to Tegan. So it's doable.
So he's got to find 2 seconds on what Bernard did at the bottom, which was something special.
So it's a bit like finding 4
Here's the
seconds
last
early.
corner. Oh, he goes into third.
What a great run from Blinky.
Be interesting to see how he felt down there. It doesn't sound stoked.
Yeah, and he looked clean, right? So I think he was moving and he was pushing so hard that you can see that dust exploding off every rock. It's just those little moments where the bike like that just swaps a bit side to side, and those are going to be those incremental gains or losses that we're going to see down this track. If you do a little bit of a sideways swap, like you said, that's, a fraction of a second leading into a big motorway.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes a big difference.
There he is, the classic Blinky ET, pedaling in the air. He's a pleasure to watch, especially on the jumps. Yeah, he's just pretty much catching perfect transition through there. Look, little front wheel tap, staying low, BMX style. And he's straight into the signature, is he?
Man of the people.
Oh, awesome. Well, it's good to see Blinky down in one piece. I know he would have wanted more from that run, but with Bernard's run sitting him in the hot seat, it's going to be hard to top that.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one to top. There's definitely some time out there from what we saw from Lockie Stevens-McNabb yesterday, and with a 4:01. Tyler Wade. What was it again?
3:56.
3:56. So
that was this morning.
Same track conditions, or near the same track conditions. We're going to take a look at our next rider, Tohoto, up in the gate.
Here he is, the man, Tohoto Arikipene from Rotorua.
All right, Tohoto's on course, our second place qualifier. He's on fire. He's on a new bike again. He's on the Kiwi brand, the Zero, the belt drive bike, silent bike, and look at the pace it's pulling him at. He wants it, and he's so understated. He's such a mellow dude, but to see him, he lets the rider do the talking like we've just seen, right? Like,
he's pushing it to the limit. Oh, he's just tagging the pole as he comes through there. The dust is blowing off his wheels. He's 1.3 up. That's huge. Look at the crowd through there. That's what Bernard was commenting on. He was stoked to have so many fans in the woods. And Tohoto's going to be coming through this black jandal section, which is quite off camber, quite technical, with some tight corners.
All right, he's just about to pop from the trees.
He might have had an issue.
Oh, no.
Bugger.
And so again, something's in those woods, and it's looking like he's relatively clean. So likely a mechanical.
Oh, he's not happy. Oh, that's heartbreak for Tohoto.
And just coming off an amazing top 6th place he got at Red Bull Hardline Tasmania just last week. So you know he's feeling it, and he's feeling good on that bike. And he's just going to have a bit of a, celebrity run. Former King of Crankworx, roll down the bottom, chat to the fans on the way down. He's a man of the people. He's going to do some manuals and say hello.
He is. He'll be gutted, but that's okay because he has the whole season ahead of him. This is the first event. So there's plenty more racing to go in 2025. Yeah. We are literally just beginning.
And that's the thing. So like we've mentioned earlier, new this season for the Crankworx Series is the Crankworx Downhill Championship. So like we've had previously, the King of Crankworx, Queen of Crankworx, where they get points from all different events. Now, just in the Downhill Series, there's going to be 6 races across the year where riders can get points and win that overall Crankworx Downhill Championship. And that's one Tohoto's got 5 more chances. So tough one to start with, but plenty more opportunities to race and claw back some points and keep it tight out there.
Exactly. We'll be seeing more from this young Kiwi as he makes his way down with, have you seen exactly what happened to his bike? Some sort of mechanical.
Well, it doesn't appear that he has a flat tire. So maybe it's the back. Back tire's full, front tire's flat. That's why he's manualing all the way down.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So we are going to hear from Lockie Stevens-McNabb in a minute. Lockie did the fastest time yesterday with a 4:01, I believe. So
yes, 4:01 was Lockie's time yesterday for qualifying.
Yeah.
And the big story we've seen is Tyler Waite went sub.
Yeah.
So let's catch up with him now. We caught up with him earlier. We're going to see how he's feeling and see if he thinks he can drop it under that 4-minute mark.
I really like it. The old tracks up here, they've always been sick, but they've been so gnarly, like really high speed, and the ground's kind of so unpredictable with like the dry dust and big rocks that you can't see and stuff inside the dust. So I'm actually really enjoying this, like slower, a little bit more technical, and I think it's a really good downhill track to race and to like train on.
Cool, calm, and collected, isn't he? Always. You know, he's probably taken a lot of confidence because he's made that jump. Last year, doing it with the Trek Union team. He's now on the Trek Factory Racing team. And we're up the top with Lockie.
Here he is, the man himself, a 21-year-old who proved himself as one of the best in the world last year on the UCI World Cup. He is now dropping in to the Christchurch Adventure Park for the Crankworx Summer Series. He's looking smooth. He's got the tight-fitting clothing. He's pumping, generating as much speed as possible.
Yeah, he read the brief.
Yep. He's got a newly stick-it-up lid there. Obviously an energy drink sponsor coming on board, seeing his talent. Same with, like you mentioned, Trek Factory Racing have seen that he is one of the great talents coming out of New Zealand and in the world.
And he's now on this new bike. We saw this same prototype Trek session under Ollie Davis at Hardline last week. And now Lockie's on that same bike, and it's got tons of adjustments, so they can really customize it to what they like. And look at him, 5.5 seconds up, and he is hauling. So making it clear that there was no coincidence that happened in that qualifying
Yeah,
run.
it was not a fluke. Lockie is ripping, getting the transition, the downside perfectly there. Come on, Lockie, staying low.
And he's skipped that whole inside of the shark fin. So just subtle differences, but he's gone inside and done a huge pump. And who knows? He might even be able to pull a little more time back, cranking in the air as well, getting ready for this step up.
He opts to go around it, but he's just straight on the pedals. Lockie 6 seconds up now.
Pulling another half a second in the third sector of the track. So things are looking really, really good for Lockie as long as he can keep it smooth and keep the timing dialed in through these bottom jumps.
Yeah, the wind has eased off just slightly here in the village. So he should be coming into a relatively calm finishing arena.
Well, calm for wind, probably not calm for spectators.
Yeah, no, the atmosphere, you can hear it. Here he goes. He's going to do it. He goes 3:56. Absolutely smashes his time of yesterday. 3:56. 5 seconds quicker than his qualifying of a 4:01.
Look at him.
Congratulations, Lockie.
And back in, I think he was just such a great example here, right? Full control, bike's moving around, but he's dictating everywhere that bike's gonna go. He's already pointing it down that next chute as he's in the compression of the chute before. Centered.
Oh, he just gets that, managed that compression really well.
He's just almost used the rocks like a little pinball funnel to ping his wheels back into alignment, and it just didn't bother him at all.
Oh, look at the speed he came into that step down with.
And just flawless, so smooth. Getting the speed tuck when he needs it, pedaling when he needs it, being so smart with where he's putting down his energy.
Yeah, we've seen almost a dominating performance from both Lockie and Jenna. Lockie, that was an incredible run. It looked flawless. Were there any mistakes up there?
Oh, a couple in the bottom woods, fully just, it was so loose. It wasn't, the run wasn't as clean as I'd like, but I think that's just the nature of the conditions, really. It's so loose, so fast, and it was good.
Yeah, and that's been the chat all week, right? It's quite a long course at close to 4 minutes. So can you talk to us about how hard it is to get a consistent run after qualifying, after seeding?
Oh, for sure, especially in like unpredictable conditions like this. It's dirt's always moving, support is always moving, and so you're riding heads up a lot of the time. But no, I was stoked on the track this weekend, really. Like, the normal Christchurch is flat out, and so I was stoked to have the track a little more technical and have a bit of an effort down the bottom. Gets us ready for some more ruthless racing.
Yeah, those intervals paying off. How's the new bike feeling? Any custom setup changes?
No, it's feeling good. I was obviously it's hard moving to a different bike, especially when I gelled with the old bike so well. That was the sickest bike, so it's been hard changing bikes, but I'm pretty lucky. Got my mechanic Josh out here for a month, for the next month, so we got some work ahead, and I'm already stoked with how we've got it, so hopefully only forward from here.
Well, it's definitely working for you, mate. Congratulations on an absolute scorcher this afternoon. Stoked to see you on top, and yeah, well done.
Cheers, Charlie.
Congrats.
Cheers.
Okay, we're going to rip into the final results. That was such an electric afternoon of racing.
Mate, outstanding, and a lot of surprises, right? We saw time made up where we didn't think time would be made up. We saw time lost where we didn't think time would be lost, and I didn't expect to see as many mechanicals as we saw. So congratulations to the locals and to all the riders out here today who threw down some amazing, amazing times in this elite men's redemption downhill final.
Okay, we are going to hear from second place getter Bernard Kerr, who qualified yesterday in fourth. Bernard, you must be stoked to come away with second after fourth yesterday. You told me there was some time you could make up, and you obviously made some of it up.
Yeah, honestly, stoked with how I rode. I messed the top up pretty bad, but even if I hadn't that, Lockie would have beat me, so maybe I'd have been 2 or 3 behind him, but he's riding so well right now, and yeah, I had nothing for him today, but stoked with how I rode. Race pace is going good this early in the season, and enjoying it.
Outstanding, man. And so what's next for you, Bernard? You've done the downhill here. What's going on next for you in the next couple months?
Dude, off to USA next week. Going to see some of my sponsors, Fox, Pivot, Crank Brothers, Shimano. And then the weekend after that, I'm at the Red Bull Serra Abajo in Valparaiso, the street race series. That's going to be awesome. I'm there in 2 weeks. Really excited for that. And then finally get to go home, see my mum, see my dog Lada and everyone, and hang out. Can't wait to be home.
Awesome, mate. Well done. Congratulations on the silver medal this afternoon.
Thanks very much, boys, and thanks to Crankworx for having us.
Cheers, Bernard. And taking a look up to the top at our top 3 elite men's runs. Quick bit of highlights of the action. Tegan really set the tone with that top section of the course. Changed what we thought was going to happen and made a big time difference. Like Bernard acknowledged, he was loose up here in this top bit. He probably could have tied it up a little bit. And then Lockie Stevens-McNabb, he was top to bottom, he was on it. You know, they're very critical of themselves that there's always things we can tidy up, but
I know, if we rode down like Lockie, we would be stoked. So, yeah, no, incredible riding from the three of them, and Tegan really setting the tone for those top 3 runs this afternoon. And it's pretty cool to see now we've had such a good turnout of people to watch these finalists come ripping down the hill.
Oh, and you can see the crew flooding down who've been up on the track. Everyone's all smiles. You know, they're sun-kissed. They've got chainsaws. What a vibe that this first big event has brought to the Christchurch Adventure Park. You got to be stoked to see this in your hometown.
Oh, absolutely, mate. It's just so cool to have this back after we thought it was coming last year, and we had that devastating fire, and now all our hopes and dreams are coming true. We're going to have a look at Lockie's winning run and have a little, well, I don't know if we can analyze it, but we'll try.
We'll try our best.
It was an incredible, basically perfect from a viewer's perspective. He said there were a few little mistakes. The track is blown out, but that's to be expected in this sort of dust and really dry conditions we've got.
And I think just energy from the top, right? First few cranks were very deliberate. He then had great pumps and carried momentum off that first bridge. You almost saw that he didn't need to pedal as much as some of the other riders, which is just indicative of the speed that he's carrying. You know, when you only need 1 or 2 pedal strokes, you can just get a good pump, you know you're going fast. And that's what he did so well, as you can see here.
And this inside line coming up, we might see it on the drone. He misses the shark fin, you notice it. Or maybe the next shark fin. And he just managed to get through the inside there, almost like we saw with Sammy G.
That's it, so he's done some really smart inside lines, similar to Sammy G, and again,
triple.
He's just looking strong, looking consistent.
Yeah, he came out with energy, like you said.
Came out with energy.
Front-footed it, beautiful.
It was interesting to hear that, you know, he's getting used to the new bike. He's still on a track, but we saw last year at the Rotorua downhill, he was so well acquainted with that bike, and that's what's amazing about these Crankworx Summer Series event. They're a bit earlier in the season, so we get the world's best testing out the latest and greatest from their equipment. And you can see him. He's learned some things. He's been working with his mechanic and putting that all to the test. So, I mean, testament to the riders, and ultimately a big thank you to the New Zealand government for helping us put these events on, bringing events, investing into the communities in New Zealand so that everyone can access this World Cup racing, or World Cup level racing, I should say.
Yeah. No, we're really lucky to have MBIE supporting this event.
All right, now we're going to take a look at some of the highlights of our 3rd place and 2nd place riders side by side, so we can see where maybe some of the time's been made up or changed. You see Bernard tight on the inside. Tegan had a little bit more pop, but he hooked up so that he was able to come in.
It looks like Bernard slightly ahead in frame.
And then Tegan gets that big kicker.
And then kind of,
and they're both just so fast, so close, side by side. You almost can't tell the difference, which is...
That's the thing, there's not much in it.
And a testament to the track, you know, like to have this track in Christchurch Adventure Park, in the bike park, to have these World Cup level riders basically having fractions of differences, it's so impressive.
Yeah, no, I think they've put on a world-class track here for us at the Christchurch Adventure Park. And yeah, like you said, with Bernard and Tegan, it's the whole way down there would have been someone who's slightly in front and then dropping back, and there's just little subtle differences. And whoever makes more mistakes or less mistakes, that's the time at the end of the day. That's where it's lost or won.
100%. And that's not all for us today here at Christchurch Adventure Park. We've wrapped up the Elite Men's Downhill in spectacular fashion, and tonight at 6:30 local time, we're going to kick off with our Pump Track Challenge finals. So if you enjoyed this broadcast, again, remember, like and subscribe to that button, and join us tonight again for some more amazing free mountain bike action here in Christchurch, New Zealand.
Yeah, we will see you there. And also don't forget, on Sunday we have the Slopestyle kicking off here in the evening.
Slopestyle's in the morning.
9 o'clock.
Bit of a schedule change, and if you've seen that, paying attention, because of this afternoon breeze that we've seen, we're just going to be moving things a little bit earlier, kicking off in the morning for slopestyle tomorrow. So check the updates on the website so you know when to tune in. And Charlie, thanks so much for having us here in your hometown.
Thanks for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, boy.
I'ma get ya.